Hello and good evening, everyone. This is D.H. Thorne coming at you live with another beautiful Thursday night stream. And this should be a good one. We have some interesting things to talk about, obviously. A lot of interesting things have come out in the last, honestly, year, if you know what to look for. Thank you, sweetie. So I've got a beautiful, beautiful video. No, I'm kidding. I've got some stuff to talk about. So first things first, I sort of want to walk you through what it's like to wake up a little bit. I like to think of myself as a rational truth seeker, a skeptic of the agnostic variety, meaning I don't just believe whatever anybody tells me. I like to have some kind of evidence or reason to believe, right? I will say this, I do not require hard evidence to accept the possibility of or have a tentative belief in something. You see, maybe I'm a little autistic, maybe I'm a this, maybe I'm a that. I don't know and I don't care. But I have a tendency to not just believe everything I hear. And I am able to separate my beliefs from what I know and my beliefs from what I have faith in, and my faith from, I recognize that my faith is irrational. I recognize that belief may not be entirely rational. I may believe things that don't have complete rational justification. Now, the average person has been indoctrinated into a way of thinking where they either believe literally everything they're told without question. Oh, they question things. I'm sorry to contradict myself, but what I mean is they're superstitious, is what I'm getting at. They are quick to believe in the most unlikely things. Then you have people who are exactly the opposite. They are quick to just deny. So you get people, these are that kind of group, like everybody knows that the superstitious wacko who believes in everything isn't rational, and most rational people avoid that kind of thinking. Most rational people look at someone who's superstitious, especially when they have no objective reason to believe except maybe religion told them, granddad's stories around the campfire, stuff like that. Most people know to avoid that kind of, shall we say, lack of discernment. Really, what I'm talking about is discernment. But you have a group that has been equally indoctrinated, more so, I would argue. Because I think that to just believe anything you hear is usually a lack of, like you've never been trained to be rational or to have rational thinking. You've probably had an ideology crammed down your throat that serves as your entire basis of everything. So instead of like learning to think, you've been programmed with something. And the counterpart of that, of equal magnitude, of equal, everything about it is equal, to be brutally honest, are the people who deny everything. The people who say source every time you make a claim. The kind of people who, let me give you a scenario. I guess my mentality is more like someone who hears a weird bump in the night and has lived in a bad neighborhood. Who knows, when you hear a bump in the night, you don't need the robber to manifest visibly in front of you before you grab your shotgun or call the cops or take some step. Some basic precaution. So if I'm asleep in the middle of the night and I hear a whoomp and something sounds like it fell in the living room, I'm not going to sit there and shout into the darkness, source. In fact, CM, you're the meme smith around here very often. Make me a meme, if I don't make it first, of some dude sitting in the dark. There's a thump and like you just see the eye pop open and the person says source, you know, like with a question mark. Source? Or the wife. Yeah, the wife will be like, honey, did you hear that? Source. Okay. Both parties have been conditioned, equally conditioned, into an irrational kind of lack of discernment. That's right, CM. Source! Like a clapping seal or something. I like that. What is that? Is that a...
That almost looks like a dolphin.
But it's not. I think it's just a blue head. So you have those people, and they're justified because in this modern era, there's so much misinformation and so much disinformation that it is very difficult to make a enlightened decision on what to believe, what to think. Now, I'm about to do Thorne's society rant. We live in a society. We live in a society. We live in a society. Thank you, CM. Where our entire worldview comes to us from a centralized authority system that gives you the illusion of choice in the form of left, right, center, maybe anti-establishment, a little bit on the fringe. You're given 3 or 4 perspectives, 2 that they really want you to mainly focus on. That would be the Coke, Pepsi, left, right, Republican, Democrat paradigm. And I don't just mean this about politics, guys. Trust me, we're going to get to this in a minute. Then you have the more centrist or alternative ideas. That would be the moderates. Then you've got the more fringy ideas that are still within the pale. Like they're not completely out of the pale. They're within the pale, but they're just outside. That would be like the alt media for the most part. And we're just talking about the media right now. Because that's where 90% of your opinions, whether you know it or not, come from. And you could say to me, Thorne, that's not true because I refuse to consume those sources. Fair. But what you do consume is informed by those sources, and it is shaped by those sources. You don't really get actual journalism, integrity, truth-seeking from... You have a lot of sincere people. People like me are sincere. There's a lot of people in the alt media, in alt tech, in alt this, alt that. A lot of them are sincere. And that's great. That's what we need. We need sincere truth tellers. But sources of truth, that is where we are really... I'd go so far as not just deprived, we're depraved, my friends. We are depraved for lack of truth-seeking and truth-telling in the source of information, because it's all primarily through centralized establishment outlet. Narratives are not discovered and then shared. They are shaped, they are spun, they are obscured, they lie by omission, they lie by truth-telling, they lie. Just yesterday, I'm sure many of you know where I'm about to go, and this isn't even the fun part, believe it or not. We're going to get into something fun in a minute. Hopefully I don't get a copyright claim because I'm going to be reacting a little bit to a TikTok video. And hopefully that doesn't get me a strike or something. If it does, I don't know. I'll have to figure out something to do. I don't want to take this video down. Just so you guys know, last week's video I took down because some of the things that were talked about, I know could be picked up by people with an axe to grind, and things could be said that are unfair about opinions that were expressed, things that could be taken out of context, things of nuance, things of speculative nature, right? So that video had to be taken down for now. I will potentially edit it and re-upload it, but I have to like take off like the last hour or so. Unfortunately, we started talking about a certain group of people who I don't have a bone to pick with in the general sense at all, but that you cannot criticize without somehow being accused of some kind of bigotry, right? Which is not present. I don't have that problem. Never did. I don't believe in that stuff. I think it's stupid. I always have. So in our world, we are presented with a facade, a matrix of truth. And this facade has merit because it is presented to us by trustworthy sources. AP, Associated Press, blah, 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 blah. And so yesterday we got the list. At least that's the word for it, the meme for it. It wasn't the list. It wasn't going to be the list. We got 1,000 pages of information pointing fingers, nothing, no smoking guns, just pointing fingers and implicating people. For things that, quite honestly, if you want to practice curses, download the document, the Epstein documentation that just came out yesterday. Download that fucker and just start working your way through it and like throwing darts at a phone book or something to pick the next person. Just go through that thing and just curse the living daylights out of everybody who seems to be poking kids. Put it that way. And so, of course, all day yesterday, the entire big tech arena was flooded with shill and bot accounts all day until that document dropped. For 2 or 3 days, really. Dropping meme after meme of pictures of people that have been seen with Epstein. In particular, the Orange Man. Now, I want to make something very clear. If I thought for a moment, or if I discover that he was involved with that in the, shall we say, either as a customer or as a, proprietor, then of course, that's the end of my support for that person. I don't think that's going to happen. All day yesterday was pictures being circulated trying to say it's all about him, which would be fair. To be clear, I'm not saying it's unfair to have that opinion, especially if you don't deep dive these things. You will see the superficial content and think, well, everybody's saying it, so it must be true. That is rule one. Whether you're a salesman, a liar, a propagandist, rules for radicals, all of these things. Rule one, repeat, 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 repeat. And I don't mean just you. Get everybody to say it. Create a crowd of people who have the same opinion. That way, if anybody gets the idea that maybe that opinion's wrong, they've got to go through that huge field of people that don't agree with them. It's like running a gauntlet. And so when you're a truth seeker, a real one, someone seeking mystical truth, magical truth, political truth, societal truth, space truth, time truth, ancient aliens truth, whatever your subject is, if you're going for the truth that you know is either obscured or mysterious or controversial, you have to get used to the idea that you're not going to have hard proof or evidence for anything. And if you do, it's probably going to be of a subjective nature. For example, I cannot prove non-duality to you objectively. I can't take non-duality out of me, put it on a table and be like, see, it's all one. I can't do that. The best I can do is get you to look inward at your own subjective reality and realize that everything is consciousness manifesting as physicality. Everything is mind and consciousness. And that is inspired by, you can call it information, you can call it Platonic ideals, I don't really care. But it is inspired by the nature of that which is witnessing itself. I can't prove that to you. By the nature of that thing, I can't prove that to you objectively. Just like I cannot prove to my left eye that my right eye can see, even though both of them form the same picture in my head. My left eye is oblivious to what my right eye is experiencing. I cannot convince them of each other's experience, but I experience both at the same time. In a similar way, I cannot prove to you that basic thing. But when we're dealing about things that we'll just use they as the catch-all, don't want you to know, or they don't want you to even question, there are ways to tell. You've probably heard of the saying, methinks you protest too much. There are certain topics that when you Google them or when you search for them, the media is all over them. Outrageous concepts. For example, the idea that there are reptilians in places of power or that manipulate or are in any way connected to our reality. You don't get what you would expect if that was a complete cockamamie crackpot idea. You wouldn't really expect to see a point-by-point takedown in various media outlets attacking that. What you would expect is radio silence if it was total nonsense. You see, the thing is, the powers that be, they know that humanity is waking up, if not awake enough. We're realizing too much. We know too much. And if they were still in control, they would already be wiping us out. Just telling you what I know. I know this for a fact. This is not speculation on my part. You may not believe it. You may not see the evidence. I've seen plenty of it. I've seen too much evidence. It's like I puke it out. If that system was still in control, we would be dying in droves. Too many people know, and too many people are rising up and doing something. It couldn't happen. So I feel comfortable in saying what I'm saying because I believe, yes, it's still dangerous, as BW just said. Be careful in the coming days. They'll be looking to shut people down. They're very desperate right now. I agree. I'm still confident that so long as I pick my words carefully, and even if they do take me down, what do I lose? 7,000 subs and only maybe 100 of you watch my videos anymore because they got me so throttled? At this point, I should have 200 people watching my streams a day whenever I stream, if the numbers reflected what they should be, what they used to be. But no, I've been shadow banned, I've been throttled, and it's not stopping because I'm not going to shut up. I'll just have to take it on the chin. I'll have to fight with one hand behind my back. Good. I got a big mouth. So the system obscures and misdirects you. All day, Trump, 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 Trump. Okay, look. Fair. Let's everybody shut the fuck up. Put on the table who you think is guilty. Trump is just one fucking guy. One. Out of 170-ish people implicated by that document. One. And everybody is focused on this guy, who it turns out is either, depending upon your threshold, exonerated by that document, because in every instance, he had nothing to do with anything. He was either being spoken of like, we should go to Trump's casino. Like that's the extent of his name being dropped. Or, did you have sex with him? No, not at all. He wasn't involved. So he's cleared. Now, of course, there's more evidence than that. But in this document, he's not implicated yet. All day long, all I saw, Trump, 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 Trump. But you know what you don't see? We all know. Yeah, I take a risk right now by saying this. So I'm going to say allegedly. Allegedly, we know, allegedly, that Clinton definitely was on the island and was definitely doing the shit that should not be named. How much of that was spattered all over the internet and all over everything? To be fair, Clinton was a big one. But again, if you look, Trump, Clinton. Trump, 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 Trump. Trump was on it. Pictures of Trump with Epstein. More pictures of Trump with Epstein than anybody else. And if this was true, they would have had this front page news for years. So no, you can rest assured that if he was involved in any way, it was circumstantial, or he was staying away from it, or he cleared himself. Let us be clear. What I believe is going on is there is a military op. Not just American military, I mean global op. And Trump is just one of the figurehead frontmen, the meat shields taking all the criticism. He's irrelevant, believe it or not. If they shoot him dead tomorrow, the movement ain't stopping and the military's still going forward. He's not the leader. He's the figurehead, guys. That's why you're supposed to hate him. He's supposed to be catching all the cabbage and radishes. He always has been. I said that from not day one, maybe day 10. Sometime in 2016, once he got, I'm like, oh, okay. Haven't I said many times live on air, he is either the leader or part of, or representing a faction of the elite that is counter to this other group that we are really fighting with? Have not I been saying that? Now, yes, there's people that will tell you he's still bad. I understand that. I do. I genuinely do. I understand that perspective. I've definitely, shall we say, entertained it. One of my good friends, a person on the Discord, a very good friend of mine, he's been on the show. He believes that Trump is the bad guy's good cop or something. Like, not quite like that. I'm misrepresenting him, but he believes that he is really there to create the opposition party. And the reality is he's part of the act too. Okay. I have dabbled with that idea. I've played with it. I've gamed it out. It doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, my friend. I love you, but I think you have drunk the wrong Kool-Aid, and I'm not going to insult you for it. I think I know why you think it. It's okay. We've all been psyoped. Me too. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Trump is the literal Antichrist. God is good and the Bible is right and we're all going to hell. Possible. If you don't have that mentality that you could be wrong, if it's not in your head that you could be wrong, even when you're fighting for what you believe is true, if it's not in your mind somewhere, I could be wrong. If you're not skeptical of your own beliefs first, you do not have a right, in my opinion, to assert your opinion on anybody. People say, Thorne, you're so opinionated. I have a right to be because I challenge my own beliefs. And when I am wrong, yeah, it hurts. It sucks. I always admit it. I'll go out of my fucking way to admit it. I will take something down and say, I was wrong. Here's the truth. I made a mistake. I hate being wrong, not to the point where I'll mix shit up to be right. I hate being wrong with such a passion that I correct my errors when I catch them. You got to convince me I'm wrong, of course. What I'm trying to say is that a few years ago, seven years ago at most, 8 years ago at most, 2017 probably, if you introduced me today to 2017 Thorne, 2017 Thorne would have said, oh my God, what did I do? The fuck did I go wrong? We put this behind us. That none of that is true. None of that can be true. Sure, I'm with the mystical spirituality a little bit. Sure, I love Alan Watts still. 2017, I still adored him. But he would say, 2023 Thorne, yeah, he lost a lot of weight. He's looking great. He looks happy as fuck. But 2023 Thorne sounds insane. He doesn't sound rational anymore. He sounds like he did 18, 19, 20, something like that. At first glance, 2017 Thorne would have scrambled to change the future away from what I've become, especially if they didn't know what happened. So let's say we just met. I wouldn't believe half of the shit that I would tell myself. I suppose if I met myself, yes, I would believe it or something. I wouldn't be too harsh because it's me. I'm nice to myself. But I would be asking, where did I go wrong? I would have a hard time. Because I am beginning to completely accept and believe things that even 4 years ago, I would have laughed in my own face. 3 years ago, laughed in my own face. I would have said, motherfucker, you used to believe this dumb shit and look what it got you. Aliens aren't here. There's no reptilians. That's just made up by people for money. The New World Order's real, but it's just mundane shit. They're just corrupt pedos and shit. Q's not real. That's an enemy psyop. That motherfucker was dumb. Because that motherfucker hadn't quite yet figured out that when you go down the rabbit hole far enough, what most people think is true is built upon a foundation that is 80 or 90% lies. Most of human history, as it is taught to you, is either a lie, misdirection, disinformation, half-truth, partial truth. Obviously, there's no way for you to get an education that includes all of human history in it, of course. So they don't have to fight very hard to trick you. All they have to do is keep you a little bit in the dark so that the little data points, unless you look for all of them, they don't connect. This is most obvious when you study the ancient aliens question. If you only look at one culture, you go, that's bullshit. You look at two, still probably bullshit. As you start exhuming more and more evidence from the detritus of academic opinion, and you start going deeper into the truth, or you just do some comparative mythology, you go, wait a minute. Virtually every culture on earth that we have any knowledge of, if they go back far enough, if it's an indigenous culture, the Egyptians, the Sumerians, even the Greeks and the Norse, the native of various, American Indians, Native Americans, whatever you call them, the indigenous people, the people from Australia, the Aboriginal people, whatever your word for them is, those people that have been there unspoiled or still have access to their racial, cultural, historical memory, their mythologies that shaped their world, their beautiful cultures, and every single example is beautiful and wonderful. Every single one of them, with almost no exception, speaks of humanity not as evolving from anything. Of course, you could argue, and the state does argue, the authorities do argue, well, they didn't have an idea of evolution at the time, so that's why they said, okay, let me accept that. Why is it in almost every single case, the story sounds exactly like what we would imagine if an advanced species showed up on Earth, dabbled in our DNA, and uplifted whatever was here at the time? Or used the Earth like a petri dish. Every single mythology either sounds like that or explicitly says it. If you look in their own cultural metaphors, it's almost explicitly said. Maiden of Liberty just put a video from Robert Sepper about the Tibetan scrolls, which is an interesting thing because to my knowledge, and I've done a little research, I remember reading in several places that nowhere in any mythology does anyone say humans came from apes. Only evolution says that. And I'm not disputing that necessarily, by the way. I'm not a creationist, okay? I just think it's not that simple either way. I don't think we were created from whole cloth any more than I think we evolved from whole cloth. I think that there was a little mixing going on. Somebody did something. That's what I think. Even if it was just us, maybe we started to evolve and we're like, okay, let's do this. There's some sort of advanced culture shaped us. Every single mythology points to this, every one. The handful that might not, if you dig through the symbolism enough, yeah, they're talking about an advanced being or beings that shaped us in our origin. And some are explicit as fuck. So the scrolls from Tibet are one of the only ones, to my knowledge, that reference apes or monkeys at all, saying that humans came from monkeys that were interfered with by a god. I do recommend that video. It's a pretty good one. Most of his videos are good. Always take Sepper with a grain of salt. That's not because he's not right. Just as a fringe anthropologist, he's dealing with issues that, like earlier, there are no easy smoking gun sources. You've got to use discernment. You've got to ask yourself, do I trust the establishment that's been telling me my whole life that reality is this mundane physical contraption, consciousness is meaningless, we don't know where it comes from, but it can't be anything special, it must just be a process in your brain, and all of these things that just at every turn only serve to mechanize and turn you into an automaton of nature. That's all you are. You don't have a soul. Your mind is an illusion. Consciousness is meaningless and an illusion. All of these things, they're telling you to suck the fucking soul out of you. That's why you got so many damn NPCs running around. They've swallowed the lie, hook, line, and sinker. They've swallowed the lie that you are meaningless. Now, to be clear, in philosophy, I don't think that reality has meaning. Like some creator said, we're doing this so that you can learn to be that. No, I don't think, no. It's too contrived. If there's any meaning to life, it is to live it. That's the point. To have these experiences like a dream. The game of Leela in Hinduism is what we're talking about. My primary philosophy is mostly rooted in Advaita with Neoplatonism and Hermeticism as the two strongest contributors. A little bit of Kabbalah. So the vast majority of my opinion, of my philosophy, comes from that perspective, which releases you from a need for meaning. Because you are it, you are that. Whatever you decide the meaning is, that's what it is. If you say right now, and I don't just mean your voice, I mean when your soul says, the meaning of my existence is this, then that's why you're here. There's no if, and, or but about it. You have declared what it is, and that is what it is at that moment. End of story. That's a Luciferian mindset, by the way. I don't need God to give me a meaning. I am that motherfucker. This is the meaning. I am that being incarnate in this limited form. I am an avatar. D.H. Thorne is an avatar of the divine. So are you. That's what Jesus was teaching you. I know Christians hate that because they've been taught to hate that. They've been taught to reject that as blasphemous. Even though Christ himself said, does it not tell you in your own scripture, ye are gods? It wasn't God possessive, by the way. We are all children of God in the classical sense of fingers being children of a hand. You are an extension of the divine. All of us are. Everything is. They don't want you to know this at all. They want you in darkness. They want you soulless, helpless, begging the universe for meaning. Begging the media, begging news, CNN, begging CNN for meaning, Fox for meaning. What is the meaning of this? You fucking fools. No wonder they think that they're better than you, because you really are that easily fooled. Not you personally. I mean you, humanity. Humanity. You see, they know that humanity was created in such a way that there was a master and a slave. Now, those words may be a little harsh. Maybe that's not what they meant. Maybe they had a labor model and a control model. Or maybe there were humans that were more advanced for whatever reason that intermingled with less advanced ones. But the point is, it's built into us as a species to have certain triggers in our conscious and subconscious that makes us follow. It takes away our sovereignty. It gives us a beta complex, if you will. We are all betas to something. And I'm not one of those alpha beta types, by the way, but it's just most people think of it that way, right? Most people recognize what I'm saying when I say that. Go watch apes in the forest, in the jungles. You will have your alpha males, your alpha females, and then you'll have everybody else. And they follow those alphas around, hoping for the scraps off their table. And those alphas rule with an iron, well, meaty fist, shall we say. That was in our primate DNA all this time. But if you watch those cultures, they're never you don't have completely brainwashed monkeys running around, convinced that their own race is evil, their own gender is evil, convinced that to put experimental substances in their veins to make the media happy. You see, I am always a whisker away from turning on the people I trust. When I say that, I don't mean like, oh, I don't trust people. What I mean is, I don't follow anybody. I don't follow Trump. I don't follow anybody. Alan Watts, I'd slap him in his face in an instant if I thought he was a child toucher or something. Are you kidding me? I don't have sacred cows. I don't follow shit. And I can tell you that my ancestry, my bloodline, is almost entirely originating from that group of people that usually ran things. I don't know if along the way I learned to not be trusting because of the way I live my life. I don't know. But at a very early age, maybe it's because my mom making me watch like conspiracy movies like They Live and V with Mark Sanger with the reptiles. By the way, I'll be making a short announcement about that in a minute. Basically, what I'm going to say is on Discord, I'd like to run that movie and that miniseries. I'd like to do a couple of nights watching that on the Discord. So if you're new here and you're friendly and you like my work and all that, and you want to be part of it, join my Discord very soon, maybe as soon as this weekend. We'll see. So, for whatever reason, some of us were inoculated against the propaganda. You will notice people who are on the spectrum tend to be a little bit more resilient to sophistry. Maybe that's why. Maybe I'm a little on the spectrum. I've never been confirmed to have autism, but I've always been like, yeah, you got like, you know, you're on there. You got a little bit more than average, we'll say. ADD doesn't help or doesn't hurt either, ADHD, because I hyper focus on shit that interests me to the point where I can't do other things. I'll forget to shower. I'll forget we got to leave in an hour because I just found some new tidbit that I want to research. 5 minutes before I got to go somewhere, I suddenly discover some thought that I've got to write and think through. How I managed to do these streams for 3 hours at a time, that's got to be how. I hyper focus on the streams. So for whatever reason, I don't fall for these things as easily. It doesn't mean you can't catch me. You do. There's plenty of things that I've believed that are wrong. There's plenty of times that I've caught myself falling for, you know, like yesterday when the Epstein list came out, I began by the sources that I follow and trust, whatever they were saying, I was copy pasting it because they usually do their due diligence. And they're going by people that usually do their. Then, of course, there was an error or two. There were things that couldn't be hard confirmed. They were only speculated confirmed. For example, the involvement of a certain, we'll say Oprah, wasn't named in there, but there are implications that people in her circle are. And of course, she's got holdings that may be involved. That is not known. I don't want to slander anybody. Maybe she's completely innocent, okay? All I'm saying is allegedly. So that was one that I said, oh, that one might be implicated. I was wrong. I don't know for sure. I can't say for sure. That's my bad. But after a while, when you do these deep dives over and over and over again, and you go and you find people that do a good job. Yeah, Prince Andrew. Indeed, Fraga. And that was my point earlier. If you look at the list and you look at the way the media and big tech and all of this, look, you guys, you have to look up dead internet theory and realize that dead internet theory is an exaggeration of a reality. If you don't understand that on certain platforms, especially ones like Twitter, that were designed for bots, I guarantee you if I could get the right person and waterboard them, kidding, I would never do that. But if I could get them and subject them, truth serum them, whatever, and be like, was Twitter made the way it was so that bots could work within it more easily? It would be an emphatic yes. 140 word character limit. This is like, now it's 240. It's an easy way to just copy paste the same. Project Mockingbird bullshit all day long in comments, and you can look it up. There are people who go out and they search and they find people who have the exact same comments by the thousands. I don't mean one person copy pasting the same thing. I mean 1,000 people copy pasting the exact same comment all over the place. Because they're shills, they're bots. Look up what a bot farm is. They exist.
Really bad ads.
It started as ads and stuff. Guys, corporations use troll farms. You can look this up. This is not made up. You don't hear about it much because if you knew that that was happening, if you knew that Blizzard hires them in this, well, allegedly, if you knew that different groups allegedly hire troll farms, if you knew that that was a thing that is done in the world, you might suspect when you see this onslaught of opinions coming at you every day. You're a racist and a bigot if you vote for this. You are a bad person if. It's just, I am glad to be triple vaxxed and boosted. When you start to recognize the linguistic patterns, you go, holy shit, half the fucking world is bullshit. Why do you think I sit here and I have people that are close to me be like, I think you're wrong. I don't see it. And it hurts me. Not because I might be wrong. For the last 15, 20 years, I've wished I was wrong. I've looked to be wrong. But it just keeps mounting. I will find, okay, the claim is a mountain this big, but the truth is a mountain this big, but it's still a damn mountain. You know what I mean? Like, oh, so they're not turning the frogs gay on purpose, but the chemicals they're putting in the water do turn the frogs not gay. It changes their gender. That's built into frogs. It's true. And if it's doing that, could they be doing something similar to us with BPA and fluoride and all this other shit? Of course. And the moment you bring it up, of course, there's fact checkers lining up around the corner to correct you. Why? Because somebody's losing money. Somebody doesn't want you to think that. Now, that doesn't mean it's true or false. It just means somebody doesn't want you to think that. Maybe we're spewing disinformation. Fair. The correct way to handle that is the saying goes, sunlight destroys all infections. You don't censor. You don't act like you're paranoid about what people are saying and try to stamp it out or use a centralized authority to attack fringe ideas. Fringe ideas are fringe for a reason. Most people don't buy them. So if you're that paranoid that people are listening to fringe ideas, you know what that tells me? Fringe ideas are probably true. Not 100% true, just there's a grain of truth that they don't want you to know. Maybe fluoride is harmless. Maybe it doesn't do anything. Maybe it doesn't calcify your pineal gland. At the very least, it doesn't have positive effects. They dump it in the water, in my opinion, as a non-doctor, of course, at the very least for monetary kickback purposes, at the barest minimum. And I'm sure it's much worse of a reason than that. They'll say, oh, everything's plastic now. Why is every goddamn thing plastic? Name the last food item you ate that didn't come out of plastic. If you're lucky, it's what, like a Yoo-Hoo bottle? That probably has BPA inside the glass too. Everything has this shit in it. Everything. People are like, Thorne, you eat like crap. You can't get away from it. You know what lengths you have to go to not ingest this shit that they put in things? You pretty much have to go off grid and feed yourself. You have to go to levels that no sane person would want to ever go to. You just learn to accept the pollution in your life because it's too big. It would require, like, you'd have to pretend you were an alien from another planet that couldn't eat our food. That's how much you'd have to avoid. You wouldn't go outside on the days when there's fucking trails in the sky. It's no way to live your life. I don't have the time and patience to learn how to eat to avoid all of these things. No one should have to. Some people, they're into that, and that's what they do, and that's great. That's you. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying I don't have the energy for it. I just accept that I can't stop it. And so I make the best of things. I just enjoy life as best I can. I'm not trying to eke out another extra 5 years necessarily on the back end. If I die at 80 instead of 85, well, that sucks, but it's not that bad, guys. It's okay. But what if it turns out we could all be living 1,000 years? But there's something that they've done a long time ago that prevents that. What if you found out that the entire reason you're the gender you are or the sexual orientation you are is because of something they're putting in the water? What if? I'm not saying it is, and I'm not saying that to make you feel bad about that, because I don't mean it that way. I'm not sitting here, I'm not pontificating on the idea that, oh, you are whatever alt orientation there is because chemicals, and that makes it bad. No, maybe you're happy that way. I don't judge that at all. But if you told me that the whole reason D.H. Thorne is a straight white male in the form that he is because there was chemicals being experimentally put in society at the time that encouraged people to be a certain way, I'd still be bothered by that. When I was a kid, there was a big thing about lead in the gasoline and that it was having effects on people's intelligence, especially children. When you were a little kid, the lead in the gasoline was lowering IQ points measurably. They can go look, Google it. Google lead children IQ points. I don't know if that would do it, but I'm pretty sure it will. And you might have to use 1970 or 1980 as a secondary, as another part of the search. You put all that into a good search engine, you'll get article after article telling you about how in the 70s and 80s it was realized that the leaded gasoline was lowering IQs by, I think, somewhere between 3 and 5 points. 3 and 5 points is substantial, by the way. It may not sound like it, but it is. Instead of teetering on Mensa level, I would have been well into it. Closer to 145 rather than 140. I don't know exactly whether, it would have made that much difference. Maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe I lived a clean life. I don't know. Oh, and sugar. George, sugar. After being on keto, I can't stand carbs anymore. Yeah, they taste good. I crave them occasionally, yes. But my body doesn't want them. My body thinks it wants them. And then I eat them and then I feel sick. So instead of eating like a whole day of carbs, I'll have like carbs for one meal. I'll have like a sandwich, I'll have some cookies or something. I'll cheat. I try to have a banana at least because I love bananas. Are really good for you. Bananas are like, my body needs bananas. I'm not even at the good part yet, guys. Now, I'm not saying that carbs themselves are bad, by the way, George. Because when I was a kid, carbs didn't make me feel this way. There weren't adults in my family going, oh, whatever it is, whenever I eat carbs, I feel sick. No one was saying that. Why? Because we had cleaner food. Back when I was a kid in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, if grandma made French fries, she went out into the kitchen and she chopped up some fucking potatoes and deep fried them herself. And if you did get them out of a bag, or a box or a can or whatever the hell, they were pretty much just chopped up potatoes. And they were not GMO potatoes. They were the potatoes their grandparents had in the farms, in the fields. Everything was the same. So people could eat that stuff and it's fine. My grandparents weren't really fat. My grandma got a little fat by the end, but, come on. You're freaking 70 years old, you had 5 kids, what do you expect? Most people were fit, or at least they could fit into their clothes. They weren't suffering tons of inflammation, hormonal issues. Guys, look at the average male walking around today. No offense, guys. There's a lot of round faces. Very soft, short taints. My sister and I used to talk about this. She's 4 years younger than me. And I say to my sister, boy, it must suck being a girl now, because it seems like all the guys are scrawny or round, weak things. Now, obviously, I want to talk. I'm round. But if you ever meet me, I can crack walnuts, okay? I'm not saying that to like, ooh, Thorne's amazing. I'm saying that was normal when I was young. When I was young, it was normal. It wasn't like, ooh, that's an exception. No, it was fairly normal, especially in the groups I was hanging out with. I'm not saying everybody could crack a walnut. I'm not sure I could do it anymore. I used to crack a walnut. I probably could. Maybe not. Walnuts are hard. They hurt. If you ever try to crack a walnut in your bicep, it just hurts more than anything. It's not that I couldn't. It just hurts. But you could do it. People did it. I wasn't an exception. I was kind of normal. Above average, sure, but normal. Nowadays, and when you say that, people go, what are you, a bigot? What, do you have a problem? No, I don't have a problem with it. Unless it's being done to us. Then I have a problem with it. Good point, George. Yep. I met some 80-year-old woman about a year ago, shoveled coal harder and faster than I could. And I'm 175, 6 foot. It's true. It's fundamentally true. And you can see it when you look at countries where people aren't being fed this shit and they come over and they're strong, they're biologically what you expect. Especially if you're old enough to know the difference. That's the thing. The different generations, they don't know because they didn't grow up seeing grandpa's ripped ass fucking arms when he was shoveling the snow, or, you know, come on. And people lived agrarian lifestyles not even 100 years, not even 60 years ago. A lot of people did. Used to be everybody at least had a big ass garden. So everybody did some yard work. Nobody does yard work anymore. Everyone's either got a landscaper, or they just let it go to shit, or they just, it's so hard. People have become soft, and it's not just a cultural softness. It's imposed on us. They've made us soft. This is why you have people saying, look at the degeneracy. Yes, they usually mean it in supremacist and bigotry kind of ways. I want to be very fair. A lot of them do. I'm not saying that's okay. But they have a point, is what I am saying. So I'm sort of off on a tangent. But there's so many areas of your life. And these are just the easy ones. And here I am. Look at the, by the way, guys, look at the number of viewers right now. When does it go over 33? Why is it always pegged at 33? I guarantee you that if I go to Rumble right now and invite everybody over, it'll be in the 40s or 50s. It is always, oh, it just hit 35. Ooh. I have a hard time believing that I only have 30 to 35 people that watch me every week. I really have a hard time with that. I don't buy that for a minute, because the minute I go to Rumble, it's like 50, 60 immediately. And I don't have more fans on Rumble. You know, give me a heart attack. Let that viewer count go to 40, 45 on YouTube. I'd probably have to have EA, or I'd probably have to have Behemoth X to get it to go that high again. And that's not because people aren't watching me. I see new people all the time. Who's Brian Namio? Hi, Brian. I see Area Trance. He's not new, but he's not usually here. I see a lot of faces. New people come in and out all the time. And the number's always the same. There's about a dozen people I haven't seen in a year, and I still have 35 people. This tells me, just because I like data point connection, I'm being throttled, I'm being shadow banned, I'm being hidden. My actual following's probably, if I'm being honest, I probably have 60 people watching this right now. At least 45, 50. And they're finding ways to make that number lower. And I know you guys feel it too. I know a lot of you guys, you've been following me for years, and I know a lot of you guys understand what I'm getting at. I know a lot of you guys feel what I'm saying. It's no longer a question. 4 years ago, a lot of the stuff that I've been talking about lately, a lot of you guys were probably a little unsure about yourselves. What's up, B grade anyway? What's up, Justin? You know what? Let's say hi to everybody before I get to the real juicy part that I was going to get at. Christian's here. Joffrey's here. J Baldael is here. Jose Munoz says, what's up, DH Thorne? Asian kid is here. What's up, the Asian kid? It's very good to have Asia here. Why do I feel like I don't really watch Crowder much? I've watched him a little bit more in the past. He doesn't really do it for me. Although sometimes he's useful in the arguments he makes, but I don't really care for him. But I should do like he does and be like, I have a half Asian lawyer and this and that. Just make sure we get all the ethnicities up front, just to really like the corporate media does. Hardcore Zombie. What's up, Hardcore Zombie? BW Shefford. We already said hi to you. Kelly Meadows. What's up, Kelly? I should have said hi earlier. Hi, Kelly. Jason, he says, hey, DH, I'm going to holler at you. Yeah, email me. I'd like to do a meeting. I don't know about tomorrow, but soon. Maybe Saturday. I don't know. Email me. Let's put something together because I'm free now. Let's get back to work, buddy. We got to go back to doing at least every other week so you can get back on track. Let's see. Yeah, allegedly Billy liked him young. That's right, Kelly. It's even said in the documents, if I remember correctly. Trampus says, yep, global psyop. Justin says scapegoat, referring to Trump, I'm sure. Trampus is saying they're going to kill off both Trump and Biden, and then it'll go apeshit. That is on the table. That is definitely on the table as a possibility because one of the theories is that one of the final steps of this plan, if you're into the Q conspiracy stuff, is that Trump may be taken out as part of the final stage. But I don't think so. It doesn't sound right. It could be. That sounds too dark for me. That actually sounds too dark. But I wouldn't be surprised if they at least take a shot at him or stage one. 100%. 100%. Very possible. I don't think so, but it is on my maybe pile. Put it that way. Fraga Ego Death says, glad you're still here, man. You give me inspiration to continue the path. Thank you for becoming the Maelstrom. You are very welcome, Fraga. To be clear, I did it for myself and the trickle-down effect. I'm kidding. Thank you very much. And of course, George Coggins is here. Let's see. Area Trance. Who has an interesting YouTube channel, by the way. Check it out. Christian says sugar's in everything. It is more addictive than cocaine. Correct. But here's the thing. It's actually the easiest addiction to give up. All you got to do is make it a day or two. Like when you go into fasting mode, like when you go into keto, you go into what they call keto flu. And it's like you're going on a fast because your body thinks you're fasting. You're still eating, but there's no carbs. There's no sugar. So your body starts acting like it's sick because it wants that sugar. It's used to it. After about a week, you don't have any craving for food at all. Like if my keto's on point enough, if I'm not cheating at all, I can go all day without a bite. I could eat. I wouldn't mind. I might get a moment here and there where I really feel like I should, but it's not like normal. If I'm on carbs, I got to eat at least twice a day or else I get sick. Well, there you go. That's the keto flu. That's that flu. I'm not saying everyone should be on keto, by the way. I'm saying that the sugar, something's been done to weaponize carbs. Why do you think they made it the bottom of the goddamn pyramid? Go back. You go back far enough and you don't have to go that far. The average human didn't have a very heavy grain diet. We had a paleo diet, which wasn't heavy on grains. We would occasionally get things like honey and fruit and grains or whatever. It wasn't a staple. It certainly wasn't the whole foundation of food. It was maybe a quarter to a half. No, not even half. A quarter to a third tops. Not even. That even sounds like too much. Trust me, if you're into wilderness survival stuff, you know that the vast majority of food, even if you've got a set up thing, isn't very carb heavy. It's going to be meat, it's going to be dairy, it's going to be nuts, it's going to be vegetables. If you're doing it in a primitive method, you're not going to have rows of potatoes and rows of corn and all that. You're going to have some roots, you're going to have some bark, you're going to have some vegetables, yes, but it's going to be wild vegetables. Go in your backyard and tell me any carb-filled vegetables there are, just growing in your backyard naturally. Almost nothing. People didn't live on carbs in nature. If you go back far enough, human beings are not carb-based in food. Carbs are not the foundation of human diets. That's a modern concoction. That is the modern diet. We didn't evolve to subsist primarily on carbs. Hello? Go look at the people living in Aboriginal lifestyles. How much carbs do they have? A little, of course. You're supposed to have some. No, you craved fat. You craved bone marrow. You ate bugs. You ate roots. You ate animals. I'm not saying there was no vegetables. Again, please don't misunderstand. Simply saying that even if half your diet was vegetables, it wasn't carby diet. It was leaves and, go try to survive in North America without a farm and see what you get to eat. Go live anywhere in the world and live without farming and see what you eat. It's not heavy in carbs at all. So some of us are not meant to live on that. George says, look at how prevalent diabetes has come. Absolutely. Jackson Mutula says, I want to say thank you in a big way. I'm from Africa, and your advice has helped me in all aspects related to becoming a better man via use of magic. Awesome, Jackson. I am so glad to hear that. I hope it has. That really makes me, I love hearing stuff like that, because if it's helping you, don't kiss my ass. But I do understand wanting to say thank you for things that have helped people. If somebody's helped you in your life, whether they meant to or not, that's a good attitude to have. Thank you, Jackson. I appreciate that. Just keep your mind open, Jackson. That's all I'm going to say. Keep your mind as open as you can. And don't let anybody make you superstitious, okay? If you're getting superstitious, walk away. Maiden Liberty, what's up? Maiden Liberty says hi. And she said, where'd it go? I scrolled away. Trump might get the silver bullet. What's up, Maiden Liberty? She says, white human meat is rich in proteins. Meat is the best, says Justin. That's right, Shift. Shift says, I lost 40 pounds in 4 months just cutting carbs. I eat fat steaks, some salads, and some fruits, wheat flour. Bingo! Thank you, Shift. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my brother. High five, high 10, whatever you want. Take it. I am so proud of you, brother, for losing 40 pounds. When I lost that 80 pounds, it changed my life. It gave me confidence in myself again, not just in how I look, but in how I felt. You want to, okay, You want the number one thing you can do for the coming year of shit is to get in better shape. All right. 1 and 2. 1 would be getting in shape, and equally would be having all your preps, like having some food and shit like that. But it's not going to be, you know, Mad Max next year. Well, at least not in America, I hope. It could. I'm anticipating much worse than 2020. I'm anticipating like 2020 and then 2 or 3 9/11s happen. Like 2 or 3 9/11 worths happen at some point. I'll be happy if I'm wrong. Maybe we won't need to get that bad. But I think it's gonna. I really do. But we're not going to be all going back to living in the woods. And I got news for you guys. If you don't already know how to do half of that shit, now is not the time. Like George is talking about heirloom seeds. No offense, George. That advice was good 10 years ago. If you're waking up now and going, uh-oh, it's too late. It's too fucking late, brother, sister, whoever you are. It's too fucking late. You're not going to be learning. If you are not already living off grid, you ain't going to learn when the shit hits the fan. You're dead. I'm just telling you. I've already accepted that for myself. I don't farm. I have a lot of family who knows how, so I'll probably be okay. My forte is other stuff. Lots of other stuff. Of course, I'm getting a little old and sloppy, so the stuff I used to be good at, I can't claim as my claim to fame anymore. I can hold my own. Like, I ain't going to be the enforcer of the camp, you know what I mean? Well, maybe I still could, but yeah, I'm more likely to be the spiritual leader now. Yay! I like that job. It's a nice, cushy job. If you think you're going to go out and hunt your way through what's coming, you don't have to worry. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be that way, at least not here. Maybe if you're in a country where things can go bad, yes. But if you're just somebody who just woke up this year and is going, uh-oh, what's going to happen? I better get some seeds and you're fucked. You're done. It's over. The time for, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying instead of spending the money on that, get your money and put it into something that'll get you through 3 months of bad times. That's all. Like if someone said, Thorne, I've got $1,000. How would I be ready for the upcoming bullshit? Well, take that $1,000 and try to get as many long-term resources put aside that you can. Try to structure it so that you got at least 1 to 3 months worth of food put away. Non-perishable, like 20 plus years on the shelf, non-perishable. Make sure you've got the ability to procure clean water. Make sure that you've got something that'll scare away the boogeyman. Make sure you've got friends. Make sure you know how to get out of here if you're stuck in a bad place. Really, friends is the big one. Friends is probably the most important. Yep, exactly right, George. A couple 50-pound bags of rice. But that's not really living good. I've seen people try it because you'll get that stuff and go, hey, I'm good for the apocalypse. Yeah, give that about 3 weeks. I challenge any one of you to live on rice gruel or just even the best rice, Uncle Ben's. I'm not saying Uncle Ben's the best, but I'm saying get your good rice and get your good beans, stick it together. Eat rice and beans for a month. Tell me how well you're doing. And Julie says, friends, I cannot. I understand, Julie. There's not many people that I would want to be friends with. I don't have many friends. Oh, MREs are the worst, Maiden. No. MREs are, no. No, please. MREs turn your guts into a brick. They're designed to make it so you don't shit, so that when you're in the field, you don't crap yourself as much. They're designed to make you not poop. Don't use MREs for survival food. No. You know what's hard to beat? Ramen goddamn noodles. You can put the ramen noodles, I'm just kidding. But for real though, they're light. You can take a whole backpack full of ramen noodles and never be hungry. Maiden says, I'd hate to see your toilet paper bill, Maiden Liberty. That's got to be off the charts, man. MREs clog your plumbing. That's right, Julie. Julie knows. Anyone I've ever known, I'm not saying everybody gets freaking bound up on them, but I've seen people say, I'm going to go camping this week, so I'm going to fill up on MREs so that I don't have to poop while I'm camping. I'm not joking. It binds you the fuck up. It's supposed to, some of them. Ask your military friends. They'll tell you. Of course, if you get fire whizzing over your head, you tend to poop, right? It tends to work anyway. Your ass doesn't care when there's bullets flying at it. I'm not saying you can't survive shift. I'm saying the average American, if you told them to eat rice and beans for a week, every meal, especially if they don't know how to make them, if they're just boiling them away and they don't put any soul in them, like shift, correct me if I am wrong, but rice and beans without a little bit of soul, a little bit of something, not just salt and pepper, you got to put something in them. Then you can eat them every day. Don't get me wrong, I could eat rice and beans every day too, but if that's all you're eating and all you have is rice and beans and a couple of basic spices, you're fucked. You're not going to be happy. You're going to be like, you smell a whiff of bacon, you're going to load your gun and go down the street to find who's cooking it. Like, even just a little. So my wife just pointed out, a little bouillon goes a long way. With rice and beans, get yourself some bouillon. That'll save you a lot. Jay Baldale says, bro, the average American would die the minute DoorDash and Uber Eats become unavailable. In the cities, you're right. Yeah. Even in the suburbs, you're mostly right. As soon as you step out into where into the country folk living, they probably won't even notice. If the lights go out, they go, Martha, just make sure you yank on that generator extra good and make sure you use your good arm. It's the one you don't use for holding the baby, the one you use for carrying the logs, use that one to start the... Martha, don't look at me like that. I know that you... That's all I'm saying, guys. I'm not saying you can't live on rice and beans. I just meant that you don't want to, especially if you don't know how to make them. Shift is like, I'm the exception. It's all right, Shift. I'm just talking to the average person, okay? Maybe you love it, brother. Shift's like, I love it. I know it's what he's saying. I know it's not what he's saying, but he's saying he was on a rice and beans diet for a couple of years when my family didn't have money. I get it, man. I'm just saying that the average person watching this is not going to be okay on rice and beans. Yeah, they have to be done right, man. If you just eat that raw, you're going to be fine for a few days. And then you're going to be like, what the... This is nasty. Yeah, if you can learn to cook Indian, yeah, they spice the hell out of the rice. Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. No, honestly, and look, to all my brown people, like, please, if I had a survival group, I'd want at least one good brown person because they're going to take that rice and beans and I don't know what they're going to do. You could put them in the middle of nowhere and they'll climb a tree and pull some acorns down. Kidding, but they'll find something and they will spruce up them rice and beans so good that you'll be like, I didn't even know that rice and beans could taste this way. I thought they tasted like Uncle Ben. No, they taste, ha. I know this because I used to go to bodegas to live on because bodegas, man, they know how to cook the rice and beans, man. And they don't, what do? I don't know. They just cook it. They don't, if you say, how did you make it different? I don't know. I just cooked it. It's just better. It's just better. Shift says, come to Utah. I'll make you some rice and beans. And some, oh, hell yeah. I already know what that's like, but I'll take your word for it. I bet you do a good job, Shift. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. All right. You guys want me to get to the good part? I think we took enough time. Yeah, I spent an hour and a half talking about bullshit. Here's the good part. So I was trying to get on you guys about looking for the truth, right? So yesterday we had Jeffrey Epstein came out. That's a big, huge deal. That's the most important news story in a long time, is that, okay? But something happened a few days before that. Before I present to you this thing, and hopefully I won't get a copyright strike or anything for this, because I'm going to react to this video. I'm going to play it for you guys, because it's easier for me to do that than to try to remember it all. Okay? That's right, Paul from Newcastle. They were fighting over toilet paper like Game of Thrones. Guys, at least have a year's worth of toilet paper in your closet. Six months at least. Do you guys remember that live stream I did where I had a stack of toilet paper and a shotgun? Dude, it's going to be like that again. I'm telling you. Something like that's coming again at the minimum. Amazon sells the big boxes, dude. It doesn't have to be the grade A shit. Just get the stuff your septic tank can take. That's what, get the single ply and just take a chance. Shift happens. Come to Southern Utah. Google Zion National Park. The rest is history. You got it, brother. You know, I do want to go to Utah. My wife and I do want to see Utah, even if just.
Zion National Park is gorgeous.
Yeah, Zion is supposed to be gorgeous.
Isn't that where they had that monument erected?
It might be.
That monolith or whatever.
Yeah, the metal monolith,
yeah.
The fake one or something.
They figured out who did it. But
yeah.
It's kind of funny anyway.
No, that's not, dude. Utah sounds awesome. I've wanted to see Utah and Sedona and just that whole South Midwest, you know, I've wanted to see that for so long. And it's too bad EA, like, I'd have to like hook up with him, and it's too bad he's so far away. Like we would have met a long time ago. And, but flying to Utah just wasn't in the stars for me. And it wasn't in the stars for him to come to New York, especially when he was going to meet Zarafina and everything all the time. He didn't have a chance. So we kind of put it off, and then it just kind of died out. But Utah is on my bucket list. I definitely want to see Utah. All right. Let me go back. So here's the thing. Everybody, let's take a palate cleanse. Goose Fraba. Okay, Death Valley 2, Maiden. I'm just saying. That whole spectrum of world I want to see. All right. So, I am going to, so let me give you a little bit of segue for this. We began this dialogue talking about seeking truth and how they lie to you and how they cover stuff up. And the whole point I was trying to get to was to get you to realize that there is a narrative of reality. And I don't just mean politics. When people hear that, they go, Thorne's talking politics again. No, I'm talking about everything. There is a bubble of normal that they want as many people as possible all within that bubble. And in that bubble, there's a left, there's a right, there's a shit, there's even flat earthers in that bubble, technically. I'll tell you why in a second. They have a bubble of ideas they want you to be in. What they don't want you to do is access information that threatens their hegemony. And that includes realization that reality is not purely physical, the realization that we're not alone in the universe, or that we're not alone on this planet, or that we're not this and that. But then there's things that they really don't want you to know. And I mean really don't. On the first, I think it was the first, or was it the second? We'll find out in a second. I forget the day. How many of you guys remember, and I'm going to pause here for a moment to get your reactions. How many of you guys in the chat remember what just happened in Miami a few days ago? Do you guys remember what happened? Do you guys know what happened? Did you hear about this? The hundreds of police cars showing up, or something like 100 of them showing up, responding to a disturbance with kids with sticks. Have you heard about this thing? So I'm going to wait a minute. How many of you guys heard about this? And how many of you guys this is your first time hearing about it? What's up, Julie? Thank you. 20 balloonies. Thank you, Julie. I really appreciate it. So Maiden knows because she saw I posted the video on Discord, but let's skip that. Let's just go with Did you hear about anything on your own? So far people haven't heard about this. Okay. If you didn't hear it from me, you probably didn't hear about it. So a little lead up. They are very carefully scrubbing the internet to keep the narrative on something that they want it to be. So tonight, while doing my usual scanning of the internet and the fringe of the internet, I came across this, which is this very strange. This is on the order of the what was it? That man isn't real, the lady on the plane, but weirder yet. This is weirder than that. So I'm going to play this for you guys, and I'm going to be stopping it every now and then, but I might end up getting a strike over this. It probably won't be a strike. It'll probably just be a copyright claim, which is not a strike. So I'm going to play this video for you. Fair warning to those of you who are triggered by such things. This woman is obviously Christian, seeing these things through a Christian slant. So forgive her for any ignorance that she may display in this subject. I am not making truth claims. All I am saying here is that this woman is not alone. I did some digging, just a little bit, about a half hour's worth. And I saw a lot of people talking about it and saying that they've seen videos being taken down about this subject. So this one I actually recorded on my phone just in case, and I have the TikTok version up right now. So I'm going to play that for a moment, and we're going to watch this together. So Behemoth X, if you haven't heard about it, you're going to get caught up to speed. By the way, hi Behemoth X, it is awesome to see you. So we're going to go through this. I just want you, I'm not making any claims. I just want you to know that this is a thing, that there are people running around out there. It's becoming a little bit of a meme, not a meme, it's becoming a suppressed viral idea, okay? Because there's a lot of people talking about this, but it's being suppressed. And where are all the videos? I want to ask you guys, I'll ask my wife over the next couple of days. I want you guys, if you really want to test this with me, because I'm sure there's got to be something left. Where's all the firsthand video evidence? Where's all the people who have video of we're talking about a riot of young men attacking each other with sticks or something, and nobody's got camera footage of it at all? You just have the cop response. That's all we have. Maybe there is video of it. I haven't seen it. So if you have, I'm not saying it's not out there. I'm saying that whatever's out there has been scrubbed.
If teens were really involved in this, there would be video.
As my wife just said, in case you couldn't hear her, if there was a bunch of teens involved in this, maybe I just haven't looked enough. Like I said, I only spent about a half hour. There's not, according to my research, I'm sure there's some videos, but they're all very, I don't want to speak from what I don't know. I'm saying so far I haven't seen anything. Maybe it's tons out there. If you find it, that's great. Share it with us. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is going to be this. So let's go here. You guys can all see me, right? Unfortunately, there's no, let me turn the chat box on. It's chat box. Chat box is on. Alert box is on. Viewer count is behind my head for some reason. Boop. There we go. Put that over here. We'll stick it up over here. Viewer count. All right. All right. Can you guys all see that now? It should be popping up in a second. So here we go. I'm going to play this video. And like I said, I will probably start and stop it now and then. I got to mute myself, so you won't hear my commentary until I remember to unmute myself. Actually, it probably won't echo too bad. Let's try it just like this. I have it turned down pretty low. All right, here we go. You ready?
I honestly cannot believe the words that are about to come out of my mouth. Oh, silly me. Before we get started, guys, Tiki Talk, this is purely for entertainment purposes only. We're just goofing around. All things stated here are purely speculation. Just having fun. You are going to want to see this, because there is a very good chance, at least for the next few days, you will not see this anywhere else but right here. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm not sure what part of this story bugs me most. The fact that we actually now live in a world where something like this could happen. The fact that we actually live in a world where something like this could happen. But at this point, none of us will even be shocked.
All right. Before we go, remember, this is one data point. I've seen about 4 videos about this so far. This is the best one. So this isn't the only person talking about this.
Or the fact that something like this could happen in our world, and not a single news media has broke this story, not at all. In fact, if you Google search it, it is quite a difficult find, which is all that much more suspicious with a story of this kind of size, this magnitude. And yet, here we are. Hang on to your britches, it's gonna get real. A couple of days in Miami, Florida, at a mall, the local police were dispatched to the mall for an argument, a fight that broke out between juveniles. Juveniles, they say, had sticks and fireworks. Oh my. But ultimately, the call, what they claim was the call, the reason for the police officers to arrive at the scene, was due to a fight that had broken out between juveniles who had sticks and fireworks. But
All right, so far we're talking about something that, if it's what they're saying, if that's what it was, and maybe there is, I haven't seen it yet, there should be somebody's got viral TikTok video of it somewhere, right? There, hardly an incident happens where there isn't somebody, especially something of this magnitude. When you see how many cops showed up, you're gonna say, where's all the cell cam footage? Here we go.
Auntie, why do you care if that's on the news? That isn't a big deal. No, my friend, no, it's not. It is definitely not that big of a deal. I agree with you, and it is definitely, hands down, not a big enough deal for the local Miami Police Department to show up on the scene just like this. Right? That seems like a lot of officers to show up, but my friends, that is not anywhere near all that came. And once you understand and you hear the eyewitnesses' stories, I believe you will at that point understand a little bit better as to why so many police officers, probably 100, along with choppers, black choppers from the PD, patrolling the scene from above.
All right, you hear what she just said? One account I saw was 75 cop cars plus helicopters. Okay? Over a group of adolescent people with sticks and fireworks.
For the record,
yes,
they announced that they arrested 4 teens. They don't need 75 cop cars for 4 teens.
Oof. You guys hear my wife? Apparently they arrested 4 teens, and they used something like 75 cop cars, helicopters, and it gets weirder. Here we go. You ready?
And according to witnesses, eyewitnesses there, the Miami police was not dispatched there for a juvenile fight. And the obvious need for such an enormous police presence was far more sinister than what we've been told. As multiple witnesses claimed to have seen, I can't believe I'm going to say this, creatures that stood 8 to 10 feet tall.
Record scratch. What? Let's rewind that a little bit.
Told. As multiple witnesses claimed to have seen, I can't believe I'm going to say this, creatures that stood 8 to 10 feet tall.
She's not just saying this. I have seen, in the little bit of time I looked for it, quite a few videos and posts about it. People are claiming this. It's not. So here we go. Let's keep going.
Walking outside and even inside of the mall. And the pew-pews that were reported, and even the pew-pews you might hear in some of the videos, had nothing to do with the juvenile fight. According to these witnesses, it was actually the mall-goers shooting to protect themselves from these 8 to 10 foot tall creatures in self-defense.
This is gonna get juicy. Four teenagers. You see that line? 4.
But wait, it gets better. Along with the ridiculously high number of police officers that arrived on the scene and the helicopter flying above, apparently after this incident was phoned into the police, the Black PD helicopters were the only things flying that night in the Miami sky. As the Miami airport was shut down, still no flights going or coming at Miami International, only one PD helicopter patrolling the area. The absolute lack of this story anywhere is absolutely driving me mad. On my Google search, I found nothing. I found crickets, ironic. Even my ex,
Why would you find something on Google?
not my ex, even X let me down. Well, my ex let me down too, but that's a whole nother story. As when I searched on X, this is what I found. No results for people shooting at Miami Mall, 8 to 9 feet tall creatures. Okay, valid. Let's remove the obvious. Do another search without the 8 to 9 foot tall creatures. Well, now that's suspicious. Still no results for Miami Mall shooting January 2024. Now that's very suspicious. Because judging by the size of the police presence, the helicopter, but wait, there's more. You would think even X would have one post about it, but nothing. Thank goodness for social media, though, because where would we be in situations like this when the media chooses not to report if we didn't have incredible people going to social media to post details about it themselves? Can someone confirm they've cut the police scanner? Check flight tracker, doesn't look like any flights leaving or coming into MIA. You can see the helicopter doing loops. Yes, they cut the scanners. Multiple people claim they saw 8 to 10 foot tall aliens or very tall zombies, and it caused shoppers panic. There are now black helicopters flying and everything is blocked off. Power has also been cut in a few blocks and at the mall. So you're going to tell me that the police literally cut the public's access to the police scanners, all because some juveniles are fighting with
4.
sticks? Okay. And they're going to cut the power, not only to surrounding areas, but also the power to the mall itself. So much so that 61,290 homes are without power at that time. On Reddit, we found anyone following what happened in Miami last night, apparently mass sighting of 7 to 10 foot tall creatures. Flights halted, police radio cut off, and helicopters patrolling. So are you really telling me that they're hoping, they're praying that we are all going to just believe this? Miami police, a large fight broke out involving several juveniles, some of whom may have been armed with some kind of sticks. Police are still continuing their investigation at this time. Okay, you know who else is doing their investigation at this time? Me and the rest of the world. You cannot be serious when you tell me you're going to cut the power to the mall and multiple homes in Miami, shut down a whole airport, no planes in and no planes out, have hundreds of police officers storming the mall, rushing to the scene, and black PD helicopters scouring and patrolling the area from above. All simply because of a juvenile fight where some of the juveniles were armed with some kind of sticks.
4.
No, sir, I kindly reject this. I do not believe this at all. So guys, I'm curious, what are your thoughts? Because to you, does this look like the type of police presence that would ever be warranted or required for a fight between juveniles with sticks?
Come on, rub those brain cells together, guys. Rub them together.
What did you hear?
Gunshots.
Oh, that's what that was? I didn't hear that. I just heard screaming.
Yeah, no, that's why I came running. I heard
Making your brain tingle, ain't it?
Yeah. Because if all of that fanfare, that police presence was really over juveniles fighting with sticks, and I was a Miami citizen, I would be demanding my taxpayer dollar back. Something much larger, much bigger, far more giant and sinister happened there that night in Miami at that mall. And just like the witnesses all stated, it wasn't kids with sticks. That looks way more like the response to a threat of 8 to 10 feet tall creatures, whether aliens or zombies or Nephilim, and mall goers having to respond by pew-pewing to defend and to protect themselves. But that's just me. What do you think? Y'all, I'm here to tell you, God told us that in the days when Jesus will come back, it will be just like the days of Noah. But I think a lot of people are misinterpreting that scripture or overlooking one massive detail, one big detail, a giant detail.
She's actually right.
When it comes to the days of Noah. Sure, they were eating and drinking and marrying and sinning and fornication. But hasn't man been sinning that way, well, since the beginning of sin? The one thing that was different about the days of Noah, different from all of the regular days filled with sin of man, there were giants in those days. And according to the Bible, and there were giants after. There were giants even after the Genesis flood. So when the Bible tells us when Jesus returns, it will be just like the days of Noah, I think, my friends, that is a warning to all of us that when we are in the end of days, there will be giants. And perhaps that is exactly what they saw that night in the mall. The 8 to 10 foot creatures. Perhaps they, my friends, were the Nephilim.
Whoops, sorry about that. All right, so obvious myopic Christian stuff aside, okay? That's always been a sticking point for me, is when people interpret these things so literally. They don't understand the symbolism, etc. But she has a very good point. So, what the fuck were they? Here's the thing. There's several different theories that I ascribe to, shall we say, that are not necessarily mutually exclusive, but they're different ways of explaining the same thing. Number one, I do not think, even for a moment, that that video was inappropriate. I don't think for a moment that that woman's opinion is inappropriate. I think that her entire set of questions is completely rational. Her entire perspective of why the fuck are there that many cops for, let's be generous and say the cops were only able to catch 4, but there was a dozen teenagers whacking each other's with sticks. What do you think? Look, I've lived in bad neighborhoods. You don't get that many cops even when someone gets shot. You don't get 75 fucking cop cars even for a small riot like that. You wouldn't get that over a couple people with sticks.
They didn't have it with any mass shootings or anything.
They don't even have that, yes, like with mass shootings or anything either. Correct. My wife just said. Hardcore zombie, exactly. It's a cover-up. Now, when you start snooping, you find out that posts are being taken down, videos are being deleted, people are being scrubbed. The rest of the story goes that people who are reporting on it, their videos are disappearing. So what the fuck was it? Some of the reports spoke of beings that were not just tall, they had large eyes, leathery skin, all kinds of weird shit. One of the theories is that whatever these beings were, if that's what it was, again, we don't know, I wasn't there, we're speculating, is that, all right, let's put it like this. What if my theory is correct and the Q-tards are right, us Q-tards are right? I'm going to own it. Fuck it, call me a Q-tard, I don't care. Let's say for a moment us Q-tards are correct. And Trump is commander-in-chief, or the military's in any version of that you want. Let's say that's true. Just let's play with the idea for a moment. And let's say that they are going around and they are clearing out the New World Order, not just the mundane humans, but their allies, which are not human. Let's say that they're starving them out because they're cleaning up all their human trafficking. Let's say that they are cleaning up the DUMBs, the deep underground military bases. Let's say they're clearing out all the adrenochrome, all the child sacrifice, all of that shit. Let's say they are clearing all of that out. What happens to those poor little reptilians? Or the draconians, or the Kaikars, whatever you want to call them? Let's say they're real. What if they're hungry? What if they're not getting their food? That's one theory. Maybe they're appearing and snatching people. Who the hell knows? You know, Florida, built on limestone, probably has a lot of deep underground voids. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if that's safe or not. I don't know if you'd want to have a civilization down there, and I might be wrong. But so that's one possibility. And Be Great Anyway says some beings escaped the government facility, maybe, possibly. What I don't think is that a bunch of aliens just landed and started spooking people. That don't make sense. And I'm not saying that it's completely beyond the realm of possibility that the cops overreacted. Shift is saying that, well, the police are often cowards and they have pack dog mentality, and all true. 75 to 100 cop cars, several black police helicopters, shutting down the power, putting all the planes out of commission. Guys, it's not just cops overreacting. I'm sorry, Shift, I don't agree. I think that if this was 20 cop cars and one helicopter, maybe. You're talking 75 cop cars, you're talking about shutting down air traffic, you're talking about cutting power, you're talking about taking down and getting rid of all of the police chatter on the scanners, you're talking about scrubbing the internet.
If it was that much of an imminent threat with the teenagers, they would not be shutting off the scanners.
Yeah, and if it was that much of an imminent threat with the teenagers, they wouldn't be shutting all this off, my wife said, probably. We don't think. I'd have to get a cop on. If anybody knows a cop, I don't have any cop friends anymore. I'd have one or two, but I don't talk to them much. Be nice to get them on.
They need to keep in touch.
Yeah. I'd like to get a cop's opinion. But in my opinion, well, my screen's over here. That's what I'm pointing. That's not just an overreaction. That is a cover-up. Something is being covered up. Jay, what do you think? And Jay pointed out, everyone nowadays takes their phone out for anything. Someone had to have gotten some footage if true. Yes and no. To be clear, if you're walking through the woods and a monster starts chasing you, you're going to stop and take your phone out? No. So if it's scary enough, you're probably just going to run. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt. You might not take... Jay, it's not a distraction. It's hard to find. A distraction requires that it be front page news every day. For example, that unfortunate shooting that just happened. I put a meme up because it's true. Every time they drop something that exposes the deep state, suddenly there's a fucking another shooting. God damn it, Jay. I had a feeling you were lying. Yeah, Shift, don't worry. I'm not even arguing with you. We're just making counter, trust me, I get you. He says, I get you, brother. I'm saying that at the end of the day, if overreacting were facts, I wouldn't be surprised. And I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But 75, several helicopters, power out, cutting the comms, cutting this, cutting that. Look, I'm an old soul, man. I've been in the bad neighborhoods most of my life. Cops don't do that. When cops overreact, they mag dump. And that's not an overreaction, by the way. They're trained to mag dump. If you ask a cop friend, are you trained to mag dump? They are. If they fire one bullet, they're going to fire all of them. Well, they may have been there, Jay, or they may have been on their way, or it may have been too late. And it's not the military that deals with these things. If you know your conspiracy lore, the military is actually not the top of that totem pole. The military is near the middle or the bottom. The military, it goes like this. You have the absolute unnamed hidden masters of the world, all of their little, operatives that rule things at the top, their council, their Vatican, all that shit. Then you have all your defense contractors, and in between them, there's a whole network of shit that I couldn't even begin to diagram. It's just insane. And that includes, you have black sites, you have underground dumbs, deep underground military bases. When we say military bases, we don't mean official military. We mean militarized. We mean bunkers that are being run by the cabal, as we call it, because we don't know what to call them. Because there's not just like, oh, it's this group, it's the cabal, it's the New World Order. We don't have a direct, it's the ultimate boogeyman. If you wanted to be a ooh, good point, Jason. See, Jason is in the military. Jason is EMS and all of that stuff. Jason, weigh in, please, brother. What is your opinion on that? Thank you. I forgot you were here, Jason. Please give me your opinion. Because if anybody here would know what I'm saying, does that seem like a response to just people whacking each other? Even with fireworks? Does that seem like the response that you'd get in my... What, were they thinking it was like another pulse shooting? Is that what they thought? Maybe. Maybe that would warrant it. Maybe. Thank you, Be Great Anyway. He gave me a 1999. Thank you. Thank you very much. He says, this is a badass story. Thank you, Be Great Anyways. You just made my night besides you and Julie. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Be Great. I'm not trying to say that it is. I'm saying if you're not asking questions about that one, you're dead already. As a truth seeker, you're where I was 5 years ago. See, if you showed that video to Thorne 4 or 5 years ago, Thorne would have said, well, it was probably just the cops, no offense, Shift. It was probably just the cops overreacting. It was probably some swamp gas because there's no reptilians. That's just a bullshit story that they're using to scare everybody. It's not real. In the current year, after everything you've seen, in the current year, 2024, 4 or 5 days in, depending upon the time you're watching this.
Jason responded.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. In the current year, knowing what you know, having seen what you've seen, is it beyond the realm of possibility that there's truth to the claims that there were big 7 to 10 foot tall weirdos? I have no idea what it was. You know what I know it wasn't, though? It wasn't teenagers with sticks. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a black op. Maybe it was something else. Maybe it was a borderline riot. Maybe they're covering something up because they don't want it to come out. Maybe it's something mundane. I am fully okay with that. But what it is not is just a bunch of teenagers with sticks and fireworks. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying what it is. I'm saying what it ain't. It ain't a bunch of kids with sticks. It ain't an overreaction by cops. Something untoward happened. Something that, again, correct me if I am wrong. I haven't had the time to go deep into this. Are there videos of cell cam footage of what happened? And if so, is there anything that is completely vindicating of the official story? Is there a video of some kids with sticks beating on each other? Jay's right. Somebody's got to have footage. So where is it? I'm going to take a moment because I haven't done this. This is live, okay? I'm going with my gut. Unfortunately, I have to be careful because if, I'm going to mute this for a second. You go on Reddit, it's all over. Honestly, you don't get much except for people saying what they think it was. You don't get much. All right, I'm going to mute my desktop audio so this way I won't get any copyrights. Let me just do a quick snoop of some videos. They got stuff from a week ago. It wasn't a week ago. They got stuff from May of 2020. Why is there no eyewitness?
There was a comment in the chat before, someone, I forget who it was, but they were saying that they had one quote-unquote eyewitness that wasn't really involved, that didn't see shit.
They didn't see shit.
Supposedly they were there, but they weren't really there, and something about how they didn't even see the monsters.
All right, so I am now on a Reddit post, and I'll be getting you guys' comments in a minute. This is a Reddit post. I'll put it in the chat so you guys can look into it. Not that I like Reddit. I fucking hate Reddit. Honestly, I hate just about all fucking social media, to be honest with you. So this is the Reddit thread. Unfortunately, I can't pin it because the damn heart react thing gets in the way. So until somebody chats, I can't pin it. Anyone following what happened in Miami last night? Apparently, mass sighting of 7 to 10 foot tall creatures. Flights halted, police radio cut off, and helicopters patrolling. And you have all of these comments of people saying, yeah, we can't find things. Where's all the cell phone videos? Where the hell is it? And I'm scrolling, and so far, let's see. People, of course, are putting the authoritative sources. This one guy's like, oh, yeah, there's the authority. Here's the police report. Fuck you.
Your ongoing joke.
Which one is that?
Literally, one of the first comments I see is there a source for this?
Right. Source! Source! Fuck you. What source? My imagination. Oh, I can't even pin my own comment now. That's cute. That helps. Oh, well. Yeah, Christian. All right, so let me scroll up. Let me get to the commentary. So Jason, our expert in the room, I had asked him, if you guys recall, I said, Jason, is that a normal response? He says, no, that's way out of character for the so-called incident. All and or most fire and EMS are trained for these events. They wouldn't freak out over some people smacking each other with sticks. It's crazy. Let's see. Cities typically have multiple municipalities that organize together as a task force for so-called incidents. So Jason's on team. Jason, please chime in again, Jason. Are you on team aliens or something? Like, are you on team it was just normal shit, or are you on team it was probably aliens or something?
George Coggins responded. He said he sent you a copy of what he believes is the 911 call over FB Messenger.
Okay, thank you, George.
It was called in as a possible terrorist attack.
Okay, thank you, George. Which is fair. Maybe that's why they showed up in those numbers. That's a possibility. Jason, would that be what you'd get as your if someone called in a possible terrorist threat, would that constitute 75 cop cars and all that shit? And that's, I mean, maybe you'd know more than I would. You're more the expert than me.
He says he also found some ground level video he sent over.
Okay, that's what I'm interested in. What does it show? Does it show anything good before I go looking? Give us a little synopsis of what you saw, if you saw it. Thank you, George. George is like Johnny on the spot with the searches. Thank you, George. All right, good. Desktop audio is still muted, so if it plays, it won't do anything. Let's see. All right, George. So I looked at that link you sent me of the ground footage. I mean, it's the same thing we've seen. It's just at a different angle. There's no... I'm saying, is there any video... And not saying you did wrong, by the way, George. I'm sure that's what you found. I'm looking for video of the incident itself, not the response to it. Because that response tells me, again, that wasn't just people hitting each other with sticks. Whatever it was, it ain't that. So that's... And suddenly my view count is in the 50s again. I must be doing something right. Thank you, guys. Look at that. My view count for the first time. It's
the NSA. They're watching you.
Yeah. Why is my view suddenly in the 50s? Did someone say Thorne's talking about aliens or something? What do you mean video up, Alpha? Let me know what you got. So Jason says he's on Team Alien. And he follows up by saying no, because I asked him if that would be the right response for terrorists. He says no, that would include all first responders answering if it was a terrorist incident. He says even if it was strictly training, yeah, I'm not sure what he means. The public GH, I'm not sure what he means. Miami is watching. Thank you, Maiden. I feel nervous now. Why do I turn into Mickey Mouse when I get? That's really something. By the way, you can use Mickey Mouse now, unless they changed it when I wasn't looking. Mickey Mouse is in the public domain, so I can wear the here. Give me like two Metatron's cubes. I'll put them on next to my head. Yeah, Jason, would you comment on George's thing again? Let's say, for example, that's the case. George, Jason, and George isn't arguing, by the way, just so we're clear. George is just saying what he's finding. Yes.
I think I found the video that Alpha was referencing. I'm gonna put it in the chat.
Okay.
And for some reason, it's not clickable.
Yeah, that's weird. Put it in the Discord. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, there's a much longer video by a guy named Isaiah Robin in that link, and he puts the video, the same video I posted, and I guess he talks about it for a while. So I'm not going to watch that one. He just I don't think he's got any extra info. It looks like he's just commenting. I'll have to watch that later. He's doing what I'm doing. So thank you, Alpha. I'll have to check that out later. Guys, my people, my friends, my family, you're not my followers. You're my partners in all this. Guys, we're not in Kansas anymore. Do you hear what I'm saying? We are not in Kansas anymore.
Welcome back.
Kansas is over. Kansas is over, boys and girls. That is over. Did you like the old world? Congratulations. If you're here watching now, you're on the other side of at least this part of the shift. Congratulations. If you're here listening and you are comprehending what I'm saying, you're on the other side of the rainbow, guys. You're on the other side of the mirror. Something is going on. And it is time. It is fucking time for everyone to start aiming your skepticism not just at weird shit. You need to start aiming your skepticism at people who are saying it's not weird. You need to be equally skeptical. Maybe even more so. The people that have every single reason to lie to you are telling you nothing to see here. Tom Asgorel says, I wonder if tarot would be a good insight into the thingy thing. You could try it. I don't use tarot that way. I don't use tarot for that purpose. Maybe it'll work for everybody else, but I don't see it that way. To me, tarot it's useful, but it is overplayed, shall we put it that way. Doesn't mean it's not spooky sometimes. It definitely is. So if you want to try it, let us know what you get. Maybe it would be useful. Maybe it would tell us. So feel free, Tamaz. Is that how you like to say it? Tamaz's? Tamaz's? Goral? Could be. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying it's not my first impulse is not to just go with tarot. My first impulse is to use remote viewing. Now, believe it or not, remote viewing works better. Thanks, Christian. Christian says, I lied. Turns out the link he sent was actually for 5 years. It's all right, brother. We're all this is what I mean. They're all lying.
Did you mention that it was like, what, 1,200 homes without power or something like that?
The lady said something. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah,
It was some huge number. Yeah. All right, guys. Can I drop another piece of knowledge on you guys? Thank you, Thomas. Do a reading, please. I would like to know what you get. Absolutely. For me, tarot is about investigating your own. It's more personal, honestly. It's meant to be something like Twilight Sun has just started bringing it up. I was just going to say this. He says tarot has become watered down. It's only used for divination now when that's only the surface level use. You have to remember the tarot cards, according to my research, they came about as a way to keep the Torah going. That was part of their use. Okay. They had a lot to do with the alphabet, the Hebrew alphabet. It has to do with the Torah. It's meant to be a system of it basically outlines the progress that someone makes when they're on a path of ascension, along with all the different things that can happen through that. It's way more than just divination. Okay. But honestly, it's best used when it comes to diagnosing your own spiritual path. You're right. It's diagnosing your own current. It's not a good fortune teller. It's a good tool for shadow work. It's a good tool for psycho-spiritual development. It's a good tool for all of that. It's a good tool for some forms of divination, but when you use it as an oracle, you're using it wrong. You're the oracle, guys. The cards are not the oracle. And no, the cards are not an oracle when you're using them. You are the oracle. The cards are just a tool that an oracle can use. This is why you don't see me relying on various oracular tools, because I don't want to become where that's what it's for, right? I prefer to use those tools when I'm stumped or when I don't want to, like when I can't even get, usually it's when it's for other people and I'm trying to be like, I don't know what the hell to think of this person because my reading's not working. Let me use a tarot card. Let me use a pendulum or something. So, and understand the tarot, what you think the tarot is going to come up with a picture of a reptile on it? No, of course not. So you're going to have to read into the symbolism and that's going to be up to you. So no, I mean, go for it, Thomas. I don't think it's going to be, you can ask it a yes or no. You might get something out of it. So thank you, Thomas. If you get something, let us know. That's right, Carol. It's your intuitive interpretation. That's the power. The cards inspire your oracular sight. That's all it does. And honestly, there are better things than cards. Cards are good, but they're not. I shouldn't say there are objectively better things. There's personally better things. Cards are good for me, but I use them more as a fun gadget. They're not really my favorite way. My favorite way is to just pay attention and just quiet my mind and use remote viewing techniques. Remote viewing techniques or any of that stuff requires you blank your mind with the intention to know something and a questioning, like as a request, I would like to know this, blank your mind and forget about it. And just whatever comes to your mind first, go with that and follow that chain and do that a few times and you'll start to get good gnosis. Sometimes you'll get a trigger that's like, whoa, it's true. But it's not something you do the first time. You got to listen. I've been doing this since I was 13 and the more advanced techniques I've only been doing for like 5 years, 4 years, 3 years. And I'm still clunky, but I'm way better than average. Imagine what would happen if I spent my whole life doing it this way. I'd probably be like, boop, I know everything. No, I'm kidding. I'm exaggerating. But it's about your intuition. And your intuition can't be forced. Intuition is always okay. Guys, here's something that you guys don't know. You've ever heard it said feminine intuition? As if it's something that biological females? No. Intuition is a feminine attribute. It's a feminine energy. It's receptive. So female intuition, meaning yin energy. It's a yin power. It is a left-hand power. It's a sinister power. Intuition is left. It is a passive, submissive, receptive power. You can't force intuition to happen. You can request, you can aim, you can intend, but you can't be like, I must know. I insist you tell me, intuition. It doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work for me that way. Maybe you, but my skeptic says probably not. If it did, you'd all be millionaires from reading the fucking lotto numbers in advance. There goes the aliens in Vegas thing. There's the aliens in Vegas. There's the ones that landed in somebody's backyard. That's right, Maiden. Therefore, female energy is bad. Bad, 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 says alpha males. Fuck them losers. Twilight says left-hand path is the feminine current, period. I suppose left hand is up to some people's interpretation. I like the Agori version of it, where you're basically integrating your dark side. That's the whole point. You're facing the things that you're uncomfortable with. Carol, when you say balance, I think you're referring, you know, like between left and right hand path, like be both. You got to understand that saying you have to be only balanced is like saying you can only be left or right hand path. The truth is the left hand path is a technique. Left hand path, it's said path, meaning it's a path. It doesn't mean you limit yourself to it. It means it is a path. Sort of like you can end up being, I don't know, like pick a career, right? But it's not limiting like that. It's sort of like there's a mountaintop that we're all going to, which is enlightenment, liberation, ascension, whatever your word for it is. We're all heading to the top of that mountain. Some people take a right-hand path. Some people take a left-hand path. Some people switch back. Okay? Now me, I don't do well in systems of intense codified morality. I think those are bullshit. I think that's false light. So what do? Instead, I focus on the things that are taboo and integrating the taboos in a healthy way that leads me to the top of that same mountain. I am still seeking enlightenment. I am still seeking compassion. I'm still seeking to be a sincerely compassionate person. So that means I am technically on the left-hand path, but if you get to know me, I seem like a right-hand pather too. Because at the end of the day, as you start going up that mountain, you both start to agree more and more on the fundamental things, which is all is divine, recognize self in other and other in self, recognize there's no duality here, that your feeling of isolation as a being unto itself, while true in the cosmic sense, is not true in the personal sense, because you are not this person. You are everything, having a personal experience. So that's the way, at least on this channel, the left-hand path versus right-hand path dichotomy is talked about. Technically, either one, Carol's saying left-hand path is balanced, masculine and feminine energy. Either one can be like that. Yeah, Maiden, it's semantics. Maiden says semantics, like you said last time. Exactly. This question of left hand versus right hand, it's a semantical argument. Objectively speaking, you can make it whatever you want. But personally, I think that the ancient traditions would say that if you follow where the terms come from, sinister, left hand, you're talking about Vamchara from Hinduism. You're talking about sinister from the Europe and Greek. They refer to taboos. They refer to the breaking of taboos in almost every case. So left-hand path, historically, anthropologically speaking, is mostly about integrating or breaking taboos, not for the purpose of being disgusting, but for the purposes of recognizing the divine even in the most unpalatable things. So if you're an Agori in India, you cover yourselves with the ashes of the dead. You eat the dead. You do all of these things that that culture says is taboo. And yet they are considered some of the most holy people. Why? Because they're purifying themselves by doing this. They're returning to the divine. They're recognizing that. So let me give you an example. A right-hand path person, if they cross a crackhead on the street, they're going to have one of two reactions. They're either going to be like, ah! Or they're going to be like, oh, give them some money, right? They're going to try to help them, but they're going to look down on them. They're going to, if a right-hand path person, without exception, I shouldn't say that, with exception, correction, will look at a person on the street with a needle in their arm, and they're going to be looking down on them. Oh, you poor thing. Okay? What does a left-hand path person do? They walk past that person, and they don't sit there and go, you poor thing, necessarily. If they recognize that they're suffering it, like that's not what they want to do, and they're stuck, sure. But when someone comes to me and is like, I love heroin, I don't go, oh, you poor thing. I go, I wouldn't do that. You do you. You know how many people in private will come to me with an off-the-wall thing that they like or that they do? And I don't react in a way that they think I'm going to? I won't name names, but some prominent people in the community, I've had private conversations. They would be like, have you ever thought about, killing people with this stuff? And you don't even, it doesn't even make me flinch, because to me, it's like, I don't go, I don't judge you immediately over things. I look at you and I go, is what you're doing hurting you and others? And if it's hurting you, is that something you want? If so, then I'm not judging you. I may not necessarily want you around me because it may be problematic for me, but I'm not going to judge you and say, oh, you're a bad person because you, I don't know. Now, does that mean I don't have limits? Yeah. If you come to me with like, oh, I like little kids, you're getting death cursed. Sorry. I'll even say it nicely. Be like, oh, that's great. That's beautiful. Death curse. Like, tell me more as I'm mixing up the ingredients to death curse. Yeah, that's really, you like to do that. Oh, I get it. Yeah, I totally get it. What's your birthday, by the way? You have any pictures of yourself that you get, like photographs? If you can mail them to me. I got a P.O. box. You got a lock of your hair you could mail me by? Yeah, that'd be great. How many kids? Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, really cool. By the way, if you cut yourself, send me the Band-Aid. That'd be great. I'm not saying I'm open to everything, guys. I'm just saying that on average, Twilight Sun, bingo. He says, yeah, that's what Thelema was originally all about. Then it went off a cliff. Exactly. That's the danger of the left-hand path, is that people will, by and large, use it as an excuse to do naughty things. I'm being spiritual as I go to this orgy. Maybe not. So for Carol, left-hand path is balanced in masculine and feminine. For other people, it's going to be, Twilight said it was yin all the way, feminine all the way. And everyone's going to have their different interpretation of it. And that's fine. In fact, I would say that's very left-hand, to be honest. One thing I want to do, not today, maybe today, I don't know. One thing I want to do is talk a little bit about cognitive dissonance, especially as it pertains to spirituality. Cognitive dissonance in spirituality is due to dogmatic thinking. So let's say you are brought up in a certain culture, you assume that that's how it is universally. Or there's a risk that that'll happen. So like we see it all the time with Christians. Christians are brought up in a myopic view of religion says this, you know, and if it's not in the book, they don't believe in it and they don't know about it. So they're completely blind when it comes to occultism, mythology from other cultures. And if they do know about it, they only know the Christian perspective of it, which is all bad and evil. We have the same thing in occultism because there's people that only have one philosophy or tradition under their belt. They don't look at the occult broadly. They're only a Thelemite. They're only a Luciferian. They're only a Satanist or something. They don't open their minds. Now, yes, in all fairness, you cannot see everything. Personally, I always come back to non-duality, just fundamental Advaita, as my foundation is mostly Advaita. So almost everything I say is seen primarily through that as the fundamental lens. The next level up is going to be Hermeticism for me. And not all of Hermeticism, just, I would keep it really simple. Do I have it in here? My favorite book of Hermetic anything. Where do I have it? Do I have it here? I've shown this book off many times. I just had Jason read it. Jason, if you're still here, Jason can tell you if it's a good book or not. Here it is. To me, this is it. I know there's a lot more written, but this, to me, this is it. This one book. This one book. Get this book and combine it with Advaita, and you're halfway to Thorne. You're halfway to Thorne. That's not true, but it'll feel like it. If you get Advaita and you get that book, if you get both of those fairly in depth, you have half of Thorne's philosophy already. Not all of it, but you have the foundation of Thorne's philosophy is in those two books. Neoplatonism would be a very close second or third, but it's aligned more with Advaita than Hermetica. Yep, Koreas may go to war. It's all coming, guys, because the Epstein list dropped. You guys got to understand that was the white hatters dangling the carrot on the stick saying, come on, deep state, come on, New World Order, come on, the rest of you that haven't shown yourselves yet, do something, do a false flag, start a war, do something. So you're going to see a lot of things pop off very soon. The whole world's going to come unglued. And you got to be looking out, not just for nukes, not just for the bullshit, the fucking COVID part 2, not just power outages and cyber attacks. You got to be worrying about kids with sticks at malls that get 75 cop cars to show up. You feel me? Here's the thing that I said to my wife almost the moment that we started watching this story. I said, you know, this too fits in with my childhood prophecies, right? I wish I still had all the journals, but let me summarize. Basically, I quoted parts of the Bible as lead-ins in my prophecies. One of them was there will be wars and rumors of wars. There'll be signs in the heavens. But one of the big ones was there's going to be a lot of missing people. It's going to have a lot to do with missing people, people being taken, people being kidnapped, people being something. Then you get things like missing 411, you get all this human trafficking, you get all of this stuff. Okay? Magic will return to the world. Magic will return to the world. In other words, the truth, the philosophical truth that the world is not physical is starting to break through. Yes, I am a very early adopter of that. Then was, of course, you'd start having sightings of weird shit like monsters, aliens. Governments would start to get unstable. And at that point, you knew that the time was near. I don't know. Of course, magic never left hardcore zombie. I mean, magic comes back into accessibility. Because I got to tell you, the stuff that you guys call magic isn't. 90% of the stuff that you are taught is magic isn't. It's a bunch of shit some people put together that's magical. It might be based on something magical. Magic is a word. It's more semantics. Interesting, Thomas. Thomas says also, where did he start? He had a, I see him commenting about, Carol asked, have you read Albert Pike's World War III prophecy ideal regarding the ascension of humanity, written in a letter, Israel versus Islam? I've heard of that. I don't remember it. I do remember someone sent it to me and it was pretty, you know, it's pretty eye-opening, to be clear. So I do recall it. I just don't remember reading it. I don't remember it word for word. I remember going, huh, that's interesting. So Thomas, did you get your reading, Thomas? I see you're saying something about it. You said you asked. I don't know if you said something earlier that I missed. Because you said you were going to do a reading on it, and I was going to give you time, and I didn't see any posts. And it looks like you're talking about it. This book is great. I know the only thing I got from Thomas about this, it sounds like the reading, he says, also, it seems like whatever showed up in Miami seemed to have got lost. I asked if it was extraterrestrial in origin, and it seems they may have got the timing wrong or something. They also might be hurt. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm a bit shabby. So, and I want to be clear, they may have been good things. They may have been nice things that just were scaring people. You know, maybe it was like they crashed. Maybe they materialized in the rest. Who the fuck knows? I'm just saying, all I'm saying, I don't know what it is. I just know what it ain't. It ain't kids with sticks. They're lying. They're lying, or I ain't me. Well, I ain't. I'm the universe, but whatever. Yeah, so Area Trance says something very important here, and I've been saying this for a long time. He says, I see it as a plan they're rolling out. They love Revelation. So the New World Order, the Cabal, was going to do its Great Reset. They had a 16-year plan, and if Trump hadn't have stepped in, and it wasn't even Trump, all right, by saying Trump stepped in, a lot of you guys will be like, I hate Trump, and you're going to turn away. I know you will. You got to face that shadow, guys. I don't know what else to say, but Trump, when I say Trump, I mean Trump and everything he is backed by. They stepped in and stopped the plan. They had a 16-year plan that was going to finish with Hillary this year. By the end of this year, the Great Reset was going to be unstoppable. We all would have ended up in gulags, dead, work lines, bread lines, the whole works. Disarmed very soon, if not already. World War III, probably Project Bluebeam in the next decade or two. But the Orange Man stepped in, backed by everything he's backed by. Honestly, the Orange Man, again, he's just the front man. He's not the one who is doing it. He is the one that represents it. Show me that you have an IQ that's barely double digits by telling me you think it's all Trump. If you think Trump is behind it all, not only, I don't care whether you support him or not. If you go, Trump is awesome or Trump is bad and it's his fault, you're insulting my intelligence if you even think you can argue with me. because you're not even operating on the same level of understanding. Trump is a frontman, period. Doesn't mean he's not important. Doesn't mean he's not central. So if you love him or hate him, you still have a right to do that. But it's not about him. He's there to take all the slings and arrows from everybody. He is the focal point so they can do what they need to do. And they're doing it. It's just about done. They're trying to smoke out the mid-level and low-level people now, the local people. So the New World Order was using Revelation for a lot of this because they want the religious right on their knees. They wanted them petrified, and they wanted them piling into churches where they're churches which are controlled 501c3. They're not allowed to talk about certain things, but they can be told that, guys, get out of the church. If you're still Christian, that's fine. There's forms of Christianity I respect more than others, especially if you're like a Gnostic Christian, I respect you. I don't necessarily follow you. I wouldn't necessarily agree with everything, but I respect that one. At least you're different. All these people going, it's the Nephilim, it's the Antichrist, he's coming because Trump has blonde hair and he's originally from Europe and he is one of the devils. Like those people I don't need in my life at all, period. Go away. Don't need you. CJ, you're cool. I know Jay's cool. So it's not Christian that's the problem. It's the Christian orthodoxy. It's the Christian mainstream. I've evolved a lot. When I first stepped back on the scene, it was like, oh yeah, screw this Jesus shit. I had an aversion to it because I was sick of it. And then as you go through the occult far enough, you go, I can't just push that out, actually. You actually need that there. Yeah, Queen, you're not wrong. It says the Christians hate the New World Order, wanting to chip people, but will line up to get chipped for Jesus. Probably. Why do you think I end up with so many of them in my life? Because it's like I'm battling with the New World Order and Christians are one of the biggest, opposers of it. So I'm constantly shoulder to shoulder with these people. You know what it's like to be knowledgeable? And I'm not even an expert on it. Like, I know people think I am. There's people who know way more than I do about the occult. But the little bit that I know, when I see right-wing Christians responding to the number 33, I'm like, Jesus died at 33, right? And 33 goes back further than Jesus. And, oh no, that person made a triangle with their hands. They're Illuminati, like that kind of shit. Like, please go away. Nobody needs you. You're the worst. You're probably a CIA operative. All right. Banana Pepper said, for $10, any thoughts on Vivek Ramaswamy? Intuition tells me he's a plant, but I don't know who put him there or for what reason. Much love from San Diego. My intuition agrees. I don't completely trust him, but he does say all the right things in a lot of ways. He does say things like he's trying to get picked for a cabinet position or VP or something, but I don't know if this has ever been debunked. If it has, someone please let me know. But last I heard, he was part of the WEF for a little bit and they scrubbed him off the site, but he was there. So I don't know if he was in the WEF or not. The thing is, the powers that be, here's the way the game's going down. Trump is obviously the center of everything. Okay. He is obviously the meat shield. If you ever play World of Warcraft, he is the tank. And he is a buffed out fucking, I don't know what the best race class, what the best combo is for tank in Warcraft is anymore, but he's a sword and board tank with a good healer behind him, and he's meant to just take all the abuse. That's what he's for. He's there to be the target. He's the one who draws it all out, gets everybody to hate him. And the way this is shaping up is they're trying to, shall we say, dissolve support for anyone else but him, such that if you don't support him, you support one of any number of random people that don't matter. People that aren't going to win anything, that are going to draw votes away from establishment figures. Because even though the political system is rigged at this point, it means nothing. It's a show. I'm sorry, guys. If you're watching the politics, you're not watching the reality. If you're watching what's going on in DC, you have no idea what's really going on. If you're watching what the news is saying, or if you're watching even what Trump is saying, do you think I watch Trump very often anymore? No. I already know what he's going to say. He's literally just like I said, he's the meat shield. He's going to keep saying what he's got to say. What the reality is happening behind the scenes. You've got to look at the laws and orders that the military is following, the executive orders. You've got to look at the fringe stories that are harder to follow. You've got to wade into the disinformation, and you've got to get hit with it. You're sometimes going to be getting the bad information and the good information. I've got dear friends that still think this is about sides. I've got dear friends that are saying, as someone coming from the other side, no, you're not coming from the other side. You're coming from you don't know. Because there are no sides anymore. If you still think that it's Democrat versus Republican right now, you're lost. If you even think it's Trump versus all, you're lost. You don't know what's going on. You're blind. You have to go behind. You have to learn to penetrate the superficial bullshit and see and read between the lies. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't get it right every time. I get it wrong plenty of times. But I will tell you that I see through most of it. The last time it got me really good was in 2020 with that election. My gut said, not only did I say he won it, I was like, he's going to cross the Rubicon any day. He's going to use the military. He's going to clean house. Why isn't he doing it? What the hell? He switched up all the people. Why did he do that? If he wasn't going to do it, why did he switch up at the last minute? Why did he put all his, what the hell? He was going to do, did he change his mind? And so it threw me for a loop. And for 3 years almost, I was in a rut because I was like, well, there goes all my oracular insight. I have no idea what's happening. And it fucked me up. I thought, we lost. We're all going into gulags. We're all going to die. I really did. I went complete doomer for about a year. You probably noticed. Correct, Patchy. This is why you're not, Patchy says it's tyranny versus freedom at this point. You're 100% correct. The problem is we still have people who don't see that. They think that tyranny is the orange man. They think that tyranny is, I don't know. You get what I'm saying. I've been telling people, I don't give a shit whether you vote for Trump or not. Just don't vote for an establishment character. That's all I'm saying. Don't vote for DeSantis. Don't vote for, I'm not even going to tell you how to vote because I'm not into politics really. But if you want to make a difference, do not support establishment characters, period. It's not hard to do. If it's got the endorsement of the media, you can't, I couldn't put my thumb down hard enough. That should be, if you're going, well, CNN said or Fox said, you are a drone. You're an NPC. Purely. I don't know, be great anyway. Do you really think Trump won fair and square in 2016? Are you sure? I don't know about that. Because you know the other side was going to cheat him out of it fair and square too, right? That means something had to intervene, and it wasn't just because people voted for him. He got less votes the first time. He got more votes the second time, and they cheated him. Obviously. Did they cheat him though? Or did they stage that? Hard to say. And I got to tell you guys, if you're still catching up, you got a lot of work to do. Like, I'm not saying that like, oh, I'm all smug and better. I'm saying that to me, this stuff is transparent almost because I've been watching it for so long. When people are saying Fox is just as bad, it's like, that's 5 years ago. That's a statement that 5 years ago mattered. Today, if you're still watching any of those channels, you're dumb. I mean that with all love and kindness, you're dumb. Turn all that off. Turn off Fox, CNN, turn off Newsmax, turn off all of it. Turn off the Young Turks. Shit, you could turn off Styx at this point. Guys, you could turn off Styx at this point. You can turn off all of these people, Vaush, Styx, JP Sears. They are still superficial level politics. That's politics. They're all focused on DC. They're all focused on the culture war. They're not focused on the truth. They're not insincere necessarily. I don't mean that they're insincere. I'm saying they're fixated on the shit that's already settled. Whatever's going to happen in the 2024 election is already settled. They know. We're just waiting to find out. You know where you get the truth now? Follow random weirdos on X. Follow random weirdos like me. I hate to say it because I don't like being a source of information. In fact, don't follow me. Scratch that. I don't want you to follow me for information. I'm a commentator. I'm an analyst. I'm a sage. I'm a seer. I'm that kind of guy. I am not a source. I am just an interpreter. Okay? Think of me as an interpreter. You feed me the info. I'll tell you what I think about it. I'm an analyzer. But if you want the truth, you're not getting it off the news. But then remember what I said at the beginning of this lecture. What other source is there? How do you avoid the mainstream narratives? Can you? Your only other option is to be totally ignorant. What else is there? Alex Jones, I suspect, no longer is, but was a honeypot. He was probably blackmailed, probably was blackmailed. His ex-wife was probably his Mossad operative handler, probably, or something. I know a lot of people say he's a Jesuit, maybe. Still Zionist all the way. Nothing against Jewish people, by the way. If I say that, I'm not dipping my toe into that kettle of fish right now, except to say I'm on Team Innocent. I don't care what your state is, your religion. I'm on Team Innocent. If you're a kid getting blown up because adults want to kill each other over dumb shit, I'm on your side, kid. I'm not on the adult side. I don't give a fuck what the adults be like, Hamas did it first. The Mossad did it first. Hamas did it first. I don't care. Are you blowing up kids? Why are you blowing up kids? What the fuck is wrong with you? You're psycho. They're another one of those, like the Nazis versus the commies, put them in a cage match and let them fight to the death, and I hope they both win. That's how I feel about the psychos on both sides of that shit. Why is they got to have kids in the middle? Why they got to kill innocent fucking people at all? I know it happens in war, but why has it got to be all of the time? Why is it all about that? Why are you and I involved in this war between the elites at all? Why do I have to make these videos telling you to wake up? Why are they targeting you? Why are you tolerating this, humanity? Why? Why are any of you tolerating this anymore? They're targeting you and you're just, well, there's nothing I can do except watch Thorne. No offense, guys, because I love you all, but how many of you guys have, Maiden does, how many of you guys have YouTube channels where you rail against these things and try to get people motivated? How many of you guys do that? No offense. Maybe it's not your forte. I get it. Okay. I'm not, obviously, if you're just like, I can't do it. I get it. But what are you doing though? Are you just moping in the corner crying because the New World Order is propagandizing your friends? What are you doing? Stand the fuck up. At least do what I'm doing with your friends. Try. Yes, Twilight Sun, you got a channel too. You talk about this stuff too. Sorry, I forgot you. Forgot you're even here. I know some of you guys got channels. I know you do. I'm just saying, it can't just be me and a couple people in the chat. Everybody who's listening to me who gets mad about this stuff and says there's nothing we can do. If you all stopped doing that and joined us and started doing something, even if it's just getting out there and just facing people online and in your life and just saying you're not going to back down anymore. Stop backing down to the Kool-Aid haired cousin you have that says you're a patriarchy. Tell them to shut the fuck up and ignore them. Step right over their ass and get to the people who will listen to you. You don't have to tell them that, oh, it's all about ancient aliens and shit. Hit them with the shit that's easy for them to understand. Aim at the stuff that the average person can put their head around. The media's lying to you. Start there. Start making them question what the television says. And I got news for you. Boomers, if they're older, like 60, 70 plus, they're probably not going to ever tear... The television is their religion. Generation X, older Gen X, television is still a big piece of their religion. I mean that. Oh, it's not a religion like they go, oh, praise the television. But watch The Simpsons, guys. Homer's a perfect boomer example. If it's not on the TV, it's not true. That's what a boomer thinks. Then you've got your Gen Z and millennials who are like, if it's not on Reddit, it's not true. Black Saiyan says, I love you and Travis Magus. I love me and Travis Magus too. I gotta get a word in with Travis Magus. I've always wanted to get him on here. I don't know if he would like to. I don't even know if he likes me or cares about me, but I would like to have him on. He seems like a really nice guy. What I like about Travis is he's pretty tuned in. He's very smart. He's incredibly smart. He actually helped me once when I was going through something. I messaged him and he had a word of it. He didn't even say much. I don't mean like he was short with me. I mean, he didn't even have to say much. He just said a few things and it was like, it clicked instantly because it was like, it's exactly the right advice that I would have given. And it was like, I felt like I was talking to, not myself, but I felt like I was talking to someone who got it pretty well. So I endorse Travis Magus. I'm not saying everything he does is right. I'm just saying I endorse him as a great channel. He's got great information. You know, he's very well read. And he applies it very well. Absolutely puts it very well. So if he's live right now, tell him DH Thorne says hi and what's up. I love his work if he's live. Definitely love his shit. 100%. And he's just a cool dude in general. You've chatted with him, Twilight? Cool. He seems like a really dope person. That's right, CJ. There is a reason that watching stuff on television is called programming. 100%. All right. I saw Patchy had some comments. Let me go back up. I missed them. Patchy says, for $2, he says, I get my info from the divine through lucid dreams. CJ loves sending me that meme. He loves sending me that meme. I saw it through a vision. He'll probably send it to me in Discord while we're talking. You know, Alpha, Gaia gives me like a pain. I'm not sure why. I think it's because some of it's really good and then some of it's like cringe as hell. I got to give it another chance. You're pretty well tuned in on what's good. I really got to give it a chance. Lately I've been watching The Fifth Kind. I've been watching Y-Files. I've been watching the Vedanta Society of New York, Robert Sepper. So those are the guys that I watch lately. Gaia, I don't have as much time for, but I probably will shift into that at some point. Oh, George, that's pretty cool. George says, I get my info from ancient magicians, from magical roots, from the heart of Africa most. George, are you in Africa? It sounds like you were when you were talking to that other gentleman. What was his name? Jackson? I forget what their name was. The one who was thanking me for my advice and stuff. Are you from Africa, George? I'm not sure. You speak like you are at least familiar with Africa. That's pretty cool. That's one thing I don't have any real knowledge of is African folklore and mythology. It just doesn't really speak to me. Like it's not my flavor, but I should delve more into it because it is very rich and full of stuff that most people of my melanin persuasion don't get enough knowledge from. So I honestly should, if I'm being, oh, that's right. You're in Scranton. That's right. Never mind, George. I remember now because you're always like, yeah, Scranton. Yeah, Los Scrantos. Now I remember. Yep. Sorry. There's a lot of people I talk to, George. I'm bad with that. It's not you. I do this with everybody. Yeah, Thomas, like The Office. A lot of stuff that people do in voodoo is stuff that's done in magical traditions around the world. If you really do a 30, a bird's eye view of all occult practices from around the world, they're all very similar. They have different specifics, but their general model is usually very similar. You have correspondence, you have intention, you've got deities usually, you've got sigils or veves and or however they say it in voodoo. You've got a lot of the same ideas, and they're just different for each culture. That tells me that somewhere in, and I don't want to use the what is it, the 50-50 fallacy or whatever it is, the median fallacy. I'm not saying the truth is always somewhere in the middle. I'm just saying that you can see that they're all sort of pointing at something that's compatible. So, all right, guys, I think I'm going to cut it pretty much in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So if you guys have any final questions, something that'll take me 10 minutes to answer, that'd be cool. Or any comment you want me to respond to. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the topics tonight. I'm glad that you guys want to thank you all for your super chats. I really appreciate that, especially you guys who send them without any questions in response. That's really awesome of you, and I appreciate that. Feel free to email me anytime you have a question, especially if you're a big spender. You guys in particular can email me anytime. Don't even worry about it. I will do my best to respond to you if you have a question I can answer. And just for the record, like I said, I'll probably announce it on Discord soon, either very soon, like this weekend, or next week. Like, I don't know what day, but I'll think of a night. I'd like to do a movie. I'd like to watch They Live as a Discord movie. And then I'd also like to watch the V miniseries, like spread it out over like a week or two and just take in that whole miniseries, because that miniseries, between those two movies. Yeah. There's a lot of soft disclosure in those two movies, just so you know. All right. Twilight, I was going to have you on tonight, but we never touched base again. We both forgot, I guess. So, we should get together and do at least a chat, but we'll see. I need guests for future streams. Maiden of Liberty likes to come on. I could have you on. My wife wants to come on. I want people who create content, right? So maybe Area Trance, maybe you, people who are making content effectively. I'm open to you guys, so you can DM me if you want to come on, if you think you got something that you want to talk about. I think that'd be cool. And I wanted to get you on Twilight for your Gnostic perspective. Not that I agree with everything that you say, obviously, but you're pretty well tuned in and you know a lot of shit I don't know, to be clear. Like, I'm a mystic philosopher and you've got a lot of nitty-gritty details. You do a lot of deep dives into Gnosticism and to occultism, so you're a good source. So I'd like to have you on. Anybody else who would be good for a live stream, who's got something good to say, isn't going to be tongue-tied. If you got good character, you're not going to talk about eating babies and dumb shit. I want to know you. So I'm trying to build up more people to have in the streams, because for about 2 or 3 years there, I dried up a little bit because I haven't been into it. I've been too busy fixated on these things and learning these things and getting these things squared away, and honestly being a little too activistic, and a lot of people don't like that. So I didn't make enemies, but a lot of people said, oh, Thorne's just going to end up talking about this and this, and I just want to sell my products. I just want to sell my book. I know what's going on. Okay. It's nothing against them. They just can't follow where I'm going. It's not against them. Not everybody can go where I'm going with this. I'm not even sure where I'm going. I'm just going where I feel led, and I feel led to talk about these things. And they're feeling led to worry about their businesses and sell their books, and look, I'm not going to criticize that in the slightest. Okay. That's what they need to do to stay alive. That's fine. As long as we're still friends in reality, don't care but nobody said, oh, I don't want to be on your show anymore, by the way, nothing like that. It's just the whole, can I come on your show thing has dried up a bit, and I haven't been really proactive in getting guests. So I really need to be a little bit more proactive about getting guests. In a way, I wish Fleshy still had the time and interest to do more shows. He says he wants to come on and do someone occasionally, but we never really do it. I do wish I had like not a producer, but like a sidekick who would really do like what Fleshy did. That would be really dope. I could really use that to like help. But couldn't pay anything, so it'd just be for fun and experience anyway. So we'll see. I've got to also start doing regular videos again. So I don't have it in me, because by the time I'm ready to do a video, I've already spent the whole day researching different things, and I'm just, fuck it, I'm just gonna keep it to myself. So I don't know, at some point I'll start getting to where I want to do regular videos again. And you know what it is? It's just the topic I would do things about, I'm not ready to do it about. I don't know enough. You know, you want me to talk about ancient aliens? I don't know enough about that. I'm still learning. You want me to talk about star seeds? At some point I want to tell my story, what I channeled, yes, but I'm not ready to do that. I still got to go through it, and I've got to really decide to do it. I may not. I really may not. So, I might never go back to doing videos like I used to, you know. I'm just sort of in a holding pattern. I'm waiting to see when the next shoe's going to drop, when the bottom's going to fall out. You know, like I said to everybody a little bit earlier, I don't believe that this coming year is the right time for me to launch my new ideas yet, because they're going to be drowned out by everything going on. And I feel like I am better served just being a guide and just being another bullshit artist online talking about what I think. And hopefully that helps people. The more people are talking, the better. You know, being silent is what's ruining us. We gotta stand up and speak. We gotta talk. You've got to get out there. If you believe that the New World Order is bad, if you believe that you want freedom, if you're into freedom and you don't want tyranny, and maybe you're sick and tired of the division, then help stop the division. Reach out to the less insane friends on either side of the spectrum, the ones that still have an open mind. Reach out to them and try to help them to see without being nasty. Instead of making it, oh, you're on the left, you're stupid. Oh, you're on the right, you're stupid. Oh, you're the... Stop. I can do that because I'm an asshole. Don't you do that. Reach out to your friends with love and compassion and be like, hey, did you notice the media's lying again? Did you notice that they lied about Trump again? Did you notice that they're lying about this? Did you notice? Hell, point out when the right lies. They lie all the time. Don't start speaking truth to power. Speaking truth to friends. So. Learn how to get involved. And I mean, not everybody has to go that route, but that wouldn't hurt, especially if you're in an area where that works. If you're where I am, you're one of a billion people, even in the local shit. Like even in my hometown, yeah, it's too big. It's just too big. I'd have to go out into the country to make a dent. That's all I'm saying. When are they not lying? Exactly, Alpha. Exactly. Yeah, January 6th is just so much bullshit. But that's supposed to be bullshit. I just ignore that one because I know what happened. I'm pretty sure I know what happened. So, again, you're dealing with a bunch of people. Here's the thing, guys. Chances are, if you're here listening to me, you're either, and I'm not saying this to like toot my own horn, but if you're here listening to me, here's the common rabble who don't know what the fuck's going on. They're fixated on politics. Like down here in the drink, okay? They're being led. They don't know what the truth is. They're being psyoped 24/7. So are we. But those of us who are here who are suspicious and have a little bit more of an occult mind, have a little bit more of a realization secret societies exist and all this stuff, you're above that. And if you're at the point where you're going, the New World Order looks like they're on the ropes, at least as high as an average person can be, you're nearing that. You'd have to be embedded in something to know more at this point. In my opinion, that's just, I could be wrong. But in my opinion, yeah, there's analysts that know more than all of us, sure. But as an average person, armchair expert, if you recognize the New World Order is on its last legs right now and that the New World Order is dying, the white hats are winning, it's still dangerous, but it's over, and we're watching a show, you are riding the crest of the normie, like you're riding the crest of the wave of public disclosure and everything else. You're right at the front. You might be a little behind some other people, yeah, but if you're in that, you're tuned in pretty tight. You'd have to be embedded with something to know more at this point. And there's a lot of misinformation. By the way, if you're on that leading edge, there's a lot of misinformation. So you need discernment. You can't fall for everything. You got to question. Like I said yesterday, I was posting certain things I was finding out. Then I found out there was things that were wrong. So, correct, Queen Homunculus. Trust the Plan is a psyop, but it's a white hat psyop. People who say that that's the other side, that that's an enemy psyop, no. Not at all. If it is, why is Trump literally tweeting about it lately? No. It's the thing is that it can be hijacked. It has been hijacked a few times. And the point of it wasn't to convince everybody Q is real and that the Patriots are in control. That is for a very small segment of society. People who recognize that the New World Order is on the ropes, that Q is real, that all of this is... I'm not saying we know everything. I'm just saying that that stuff is appropriately accurate enough. People who know that, your job is to take that with the confidence of knowing that in the end, who the bad guys are, who we're supposed to be pointing at. So here, I'll end on this, okay? For those of you guys who are a little new to the Q thing, or maybe you believe in Q, maybe you follow Q, if you go online and follow the Q accounts that talk about it, 9 out of 10 of their posts are about how Q is real and Trump is really in control. Okay, that's all cool for morale purposes, but that's not the point of Q. The point of Q, if you research the Q drops, who's going to be on Epstein Island? Who are we supposed to be looking at as a suspect? Who are we supposed to be supporting because they are in the, in the operation? That's what it's for. It's not anybody who tells you that Q was there to tell you to stand down and do nothing. I don't know what Q you were reading, but that's not the Q I read at all. The Q I read talked about creating a mil-civ alliance of civilian, social media people, all that shit. It was to help get the movement going. That's what they were for. It wasn't to get you to lay down. Anybody who says that is lying to you. They suck down the other psyop. And to be fair, some of the Q people don't want you to believe in Q either. Did you know that? Because the whole point of Q is not to prove Q. The whole point of Q is to get the normies to wake up to the New World Order. That's the point of Q. It's to help the normies wake up, to guide them over the next couple of years of things that are going to happen, because when all of this goes kablooey, they're going to be going, what the fuck? Because a lot of people have no idea still what's going on. Exactly, Queen. And Q never said that. It told you over and over again, you're going to have to get out there and fight on some level. So when everybody says, oh, Q is Operation Trust 2.0, all I know is that they're superficial. They just read the headlines. They don't know what they're talking about. That is true. That is true, Queen. Not only that, not only are there fake Q influencers, there are people intentionally placed to derail that movement. And some of them work with Q. You have to understand, Q was not supposed to become a gigantic movement of people who are constantly saying Trump is still the president. That wasn't the point. In fact, I think that it worked too well. And now they're actually scrambling to push it down a little bit. Some of the people that I think are involved in Q have been like, oh no, Q's not, no, shut up, stop talking about it. Here, you want to know if you're a normie waking up to this? There's a channel called X22. X22 has been at this for a long time, like going on like 8, 9, 10 years, maybe more. And he's been involved in the whole Q thing from the beginning. He's one of the central channels about that subject. Now, you would watch his videos. If you go on BitChute and watch X22, if you don't know anything like I do, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying I know a lot. Again, I say that like it sounds like, oh, Thorne saying he knows. I'm just saying, if you have the drip drop of information I've had for 15 years, you don't think X22 sounds crazy. Okay. But if you're new to this, if you listen to X22, you're like, oh, that guy's a nut. He's worse than Alex Jones. There's no way this is true. Why does Donald Trump's son go on his show all the time? Why does he have Kash Patel on all the time? Why does he have people that are deep inside with Trump on all the time? If he was this toxic maniac in the wilderness with nothing but conspiracy theories that aren't true, that Q is a total psyop and it's not true, why is Trump all around it? Why is his family there? Why is his advisors on the show? Why would they let themselves be seen with a total quack? So, I am not telling you to believe superstitiously. I'm saying have some skepticism for the people telling you not to. Question them too. There is a 2-hour video. You know what? I'm going to post this. For those of you guys who still don't, like, nah, Q's fake. It's totally fake. It's a psyop. There's no truth to it because I saw my preacher said that it's Operation Trust 2.0. Well, I'm going to help you out. There's a video that came out in 2018. And this video, if you watch even just the first 45 minutes or so. Let me just get the right link here. You watch just the first 45 minutes of this. You might not even have to watch.
By now, you.
Oop. Don't want a copyright strike. This is off BitChute, so I got to warn you guys, BitChute is targeted by like Stormfront morons, so you'll see a lot of like Jew this and this and that. Just ignore all that. I hate that shit. It's all there to... I'm not sure if they're there because that's the only place they can be, or if that's a psyop to make everyone think this BitChute is a Nazi stronghold. Maybe it is, but so that video that I just posted there from BitChute, just watch like 40 minutes of it. If you're not going, I don't know what'll help you. That's an old video. I can show you up-to-date proofs. Trump reposting things like Trump is still the commander-in-chief and shit like that. Guys, I am highly confident. Like, to the point where I'm not betting the farm on it. I do the 80-20 rule when I'm uncertain. 80% of my risk is on that Q is real. Okay, that's a lot. If I'm telling you that, I'm pretty well convinced. Doesn't mean I know everything, doesn't mean I'm right about everything. It just means that I'm pretty confident that it's true. And if it's true, it's the only thing that properly explains all of the data points that I see. That's right, Twilight. They do anything they can to get you not to look. And they failed so bad. So I'm not trying to get you guys, believe in Q. I'm just saying so that you don't sit here and go, Thorne's nuts for believing it. There's different levels of what you're supposed to be doing. I know my audience isn't normies. So I'm not worried about explaining to you that there's a New World Order. If you're watching my channel and you're going, New World Order isn't real, you probably don't believe in magic either. Just saying. You're probably one of those people. I don't know a lot of people that love magic and occultism that don't believe in the New World Order on some level, okay? We might disagree on who the good guys are. I think there was some people who were here earlier who would disagree and they might not be here now because they heard that I like Trump and they might have said, oh, well, I don't like you now. That's possible. Or maybe they don't do that. I hope not. I hope they have a bigger mind than that. I do. Especially now after everything we've seen. I hope your mind is bigger than Trump bad. You don't have to like Trump. I get it. I'll defend him, but I'm not going to be mad at you because you don't like him. Oh, that didn't go anywhere? All right, let me try it again. Hold on, because it worked for me when I put it in. Yeah, it's working. Try it again, Alpha. It should work. Maybe did it shrink it or something? Yeah, that link works for me, Alpha, so I don't know what's going on. It must be something on your end. Oh, okay, you got it. Okay, good. Okay. Remember, the occult just means hidden. The New World Order is the occult, guys. Like Like when people say, I'm an occultist. I remember I had Siege over for a week just about. And we watched this one video and they showed the Skull and they showed the Skull and Bones Club. And I'm sitting there laughing and he's laughing too. Cause I said, you know, this is whenever I hear some dude sitting in their basement, their mom's basement going, I'm a black magician. I'm an occultist. I'm this subversive black wizard of doom and blah. You ain't shit. You ain't shit. Unless you're sleeping in that coffin at Skull and Bones, unless you're going, you ain't shit. I don't mean like you suck. I mean, that's not you know what's in the Masons, what they do at the higher levels. Yeah, you're an occult. You know what sacred geometry is. You're an occultist. You know what's in all these public books. You're a Thelemite. You're an occultist. You're a golden. You're not an occultist, guys. I mean, just saying in that context, that's not what makes. How deep are you going down the rabbit hole? That's what an occultist do. An occultist goes deep down the rabbit hole into the uncomfortable areas where other people are scared to look, where you're told not to look. When they tell you there's no such thing as adrenochrome, you go, yeah, right, sure. That's what an occultist is. Yes, it involves reading all of those. It involves sacred. It involves all of those subjects. I'm not saying it doesn't. But that's not the occult any more than the tarot. The tarot is not a cult. You think the tarot is a cult? There's more books on tarot than there are. Come on, guys. That's not the occult. The occult means hidden. It doesn't mean in your fucking face, fool. It means what you can't see. Sometimes it's can't be seen because it is in your face, to be fair. Sometimes it's hidden in plain sight, to be fair. But I mean, an occultist sees what is hidden. Whether it's in plain sight or not, you see what is hidden. That's your prerogative. You're a truth seeker. A true occultist says, who the fuck is that behind the curtain anyway? An occultist doesn't go, oh, hail the mighty Wizard of Oz. They go, who's the fucker behind the curtain? That's an occultist. Occult means you're going to hell. Thank you, CJ. Thank you. The tail gunner CJ with the you're going to hell. I love it. Fucking love it. All right, guys. So this is where I'm going to sign it off for tonight. For all of you guys who are putting up with my shtick of being a know-it-all asshole, I love you all. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your super chats. Next week, next week, I will potentially be having a special guest on in person, assuming nothing untoward happens. They're in the chat right now. I don't know if they want to say that they're going to be here, but they will be here in person. So that might be a fun time to get a third person on too. That might be a fun time to do it. We'll see. But they should be here because, they got nothing better to do. So Dan Best, I've been going down that rabbit hole my whole life. Love you, brother. Exactly. Thank you, Dan. Keep doing it. Look, we don't all have to have the same level of knowledge. We just got to have knowledge that other people don't have. If I know something that person doesn't know and we come together and that's all we need to do. We should all be doing that. You know what? I should put a channel on the Discord and be like New World Order occult shit and just let you guys just go to town. That's what I should do. So, all right, guys. Hail the 10-foot creatures, say Jay Balta. Hail the Miami 10-footers. Yeah, I like Hillary. Yeah, I hear Hillary likes pizza, or was it just Clinton? I don't know. One of them did. Huma did. I mean, allegedly. Who doesn't like pizza, though, right? Oh, right. Right. Guys, it's all going to come out. I don't know if every bit of it's going to come out, but enough of it's going to come out. It's coming out now. If you know where to look, soft disclosure is already happening. If you're tuned in, you know soft disclosure is already done. If you're waiting for hard disclosure, you're a normie, right? If you're waiting for hard disclosure for the news to tell you, you're a normie. Even if you consider yourself a conspiracy, like I have different levels of crazy. You have normie, conspiracy theorist, and anon. Like those are like people like me, like we're way too far. We're way too far for the average person. But yes, you gotta be looking All right, I'm shutting up. Good night, guys. Have a wonderful night. Yes, Shift, we should have a talk. If you want to come on, if you've got like good charisma and you want to talk about some weird spooky shit that you know about, especially from your Mormon background, that'd be cool. That'd be dope. Maybe Christian would like to come on. I know Christian's a practitioner. He might want to come on. So, you know, DM me on Discord or mention me in the I don't know, occultist review or something. Like you want to be on the show or something. We'll talk. So I'm going to go. Love you all. Good night.